had already made changes to the administrative rules, making any state funding to libraries contingent upon the library's compliance with policy that would remove sexually explicit books located in children and teen sections. Wall says that public libraries who are compliant with this new rule will have any loss of funding matched dollar for dollar after the state legislature passes the Education Trust Fund budget. The ETF budget has been written in a way to replace the loss of federal funding for the state of Alabama and its libraries. I'll be back with more Alabama stories after this.
Are you enjoying 1819 News? If so, consider joining 1819 News as a member. As a nonprofit news organization, we depend on the support of Alabamians like you. Memberships start out as little as $5 a month, and you'll get access to exclusive content only offered to our members. You'll be supporting independent journalism done by people who cherish Alabama values. Become a member today by visiting 1819news.com and clicking Become a Member. That's 1819news.com and click Become a Member today.
The Alabama State Fire Marshal has determined that a fire that broke out in the attic of a veteran's home in Enterprise was an accident. Apparently, there were contractors still working on parts of that new building, such as vents over the kitchen area. That's where the fire broke out. The residential areas were not impacted. However, that facility is still closed down after 91 veterans were evacuated during the blaze. I'm Andrea Tice.
For more news affecting Alabamians, go to 1819news.com. And while you're there, subscribe to the daily newsletter.
When you need a new door or window replaced, you want it done right. Someone who delivers expert craftsmanship every time. Experience is a must. Listen, Davis Door and Sash. They can show you new doors and windows that can help you lower your utility bills and boost energy efficiency. Davis Door and Sash, Alabama.com or call 334-288-6010. Davis Door and Sash, the perfect fit for your home.
The views and opinions of the following program are solely those of the host and other contributors. These do not necessarily represent those of Liberty Acquisitions 825, Blue Water Broadcasting, its management, staff, or any advertisers. It's time for Montgomery's conversational radio show. It's News and Views on News Talk 93.1 FM. To join the conversation, call 272-9228.
Well, our behavior has produced some crappy results.
Joey Clark.
Welcome into the program. Beautiful day here in Montgomery, Alabama. Plenty to get to today. The news cycle always continues. Stock markets all over the place. Gold is up like crazy, historic highs. So is Bitcoin. Possibility of new trade deals, some deep dives on maybe the second most powerful man in Washington, Russ Vought of OMB. What are the Democrats up to? And of course, we'll hit some state and local stuff as well. But joining us, as he does pretty much every Tuesday, always appreciate his time. We have the one, the only Judge Andrew Napolitano. Judge, how you doing today, sir?
No, I'm fine, Joey. How are you, my dear friend?
I'm doing very well indeed. Something I started the show with yesterday was, of course, talking about the passing of Pope Francis, but it led into a larger discussion of, it seems like people my age, millennials in general, seem to be converting to Catholicism. And often, like here in Auburn, Alabama, I have an uncle that goes over there to St. Michael's saying the young folks are getting down on their knees and receiving communion on the tongue. They're doing more traditional in their practices. What do you think it is about the traditional presentation of the Mass, the traditional Catholicism that is attracting young folks these days?
Well, I'm happy to see this transformation. Part of it, I think, is a reaction to the authoritarianism of Francis, who attempted to suppress the traditional Latin Mass, which was the only Mass anywhere on the planet from 1564 to 1970. And even after 1970 was permitted wherever priests and bishops decided it could be offered. Francis attempted to suppress it. So the little bit of rebelliousness in youth wanting to resist authority. However, the concept of a grander, more solemn liturgy always warms the human heart. And this is what the church has practiced and what drew so many people over the centuries to Catholicism. There's something special about a liturgy in a language that nobody really used to speak. We only used it to speak to God. And this is becoming a little bit more popular. The younger seminarians have been chastised by Francis for wearing cassocks. Now, seminarians haven't worn cassocks since the 70s, but these traditional habits and customs are returning. I expect we'll see a far more traditional pope who will encourage these things.
I was about to ask, who do you think might actually end up in the chair? I always think the Western press is too focused on Western political issues. There might be a lot to the internal politics of the church we might be missing.
Yeah, I mean, the standard argument is, well, Francis appointed 80% of the voting cardinals, which is true. And they are likely to choose a successor in his image and likeness. Well, recent history shows that's not true, because when Francis was elected, 100% of the cardinals had been chosen by either John Paul II or Benedict XVI, two very, very traditional popes. And they chose this left-wing Jesuit from Latin America. So the pendulum swings back and forth. There does seem to be a consensus that Francis was too heavy-handed and went too far, and it's time to return either to a more centrist or a more traditional style papacy, and I think that's what we'll see. Who the person will be, I don't know.
Well, what I find fascinating is even in the secular West, especially, say, secular Europe, but very Protestant America, there's something about the Roman Catholic Pope that has a hold of the Western imagination. I don't think I could put it better than that. It's almost still a symbol, even if it doesn't have, say, the same sway as 500, 600 years ago.
Well, we believe that he is the vicar of Christ on earth. There was a time when the church taught that the Holy Ghost actually picked the Pope, but the church hasn't taught that for a while. The Holy Ghost was asleep if he picked Francis. So, I mean, I pray for Francis's soul, and I pray for the papacy. The church is a monarchy, and the Pope is the king, and there's no dissenting from him. But we've never had a pope as stridently liberal and authoritarian at the same time as Francis. I mean, the other popes who have opened up the windows and opened up the doors, so to speak, didn't suppress traditionalism. Francis both opened up doors and windows and attempted to suppress traditionalism, and it backfired on him.
Well, and we'll see it play out. I find it interesting that right before Easter weekend, I was reading in depth on it. Really is remarkable to see people my age. Well, J.D. Vance is an example. You're starting to see more and more folks as they grow, maybe you're having children, realize, what faith should I engage with? And these days, just how we're having this conversation here and often talk politics, there are channel after channel with hundreds of thousands, not millions of viewers, where it's all the different Christian denominations and all sorts of other different faiths having these arguments online. And for some reason, it seems to be pointing back to the Catholic Church. I just find it a fascinating phenomenon.
Well, one of my many gripes about Francis is his statement that God the Father enjoys seeing a multiplicity of religions. Now, that is 180 degrees contrary to what the church has taught for 2,000 years. That's absolute heresy. But yet he did say that, and he refused to walk it back. He didn't say it in an encyclical. He didn't define it as an essential teaching of the church, but it revealed what's going on in his brain. It's an act of heresy. And things like that confuse people. Good, well-intended people get confused by it.
Now, shifting to politics, again, folks, we're talking to Judge Andrew Napolitano. What do you make of this fight the Trump administration has picked with Harvard? I know Harvard is now suing the Trump administration over a lot of loss of this federal funding. In general, it's interesting that they're taking on, say, the jewel of the Ivy League, you might have some others in other schools that would argue that Harvard's the jewel there, I suppose.
Well, as a graduate of Princeton, I think that Princeton's the jewel, but Harvard is the wealthiest school in the country. And it is the greatest school in the country because it does a lot more. Princeton concentrates on undergraduate education. Harvard is a wonderful research institute. That's the core of the problem here. Its complaint argues, and I think very persuasively, that the people whose funds Trump is cutting off, have nothing to do with the complaints that Trump is making. So you're talking about an MD who's also a PhD who's studying ways to treat diabetes, for example. That person has nothing whatsoever to do with anti-Semitic comments made in Harvard Yard, and yet that person is being punished for it. That's issue number one, is the concept of collective punishment, which is prohibited by the Fifth Amendment. Issue number two is, can the federal government tell Harvard who to hire, who to admit as students, and what to teach? And the answer is no. Harvard never agreed to that as a condition of accepting federal funds. And the third issue is, can the government add strings to money that it is giving away? These are not strings that were there when they gave the money away. These are new strings that the president, not even the Congress, wants to add after the money was committed. And the answer to that is no. So I think Harvard prevails here, maybe a little while before the case is resolved, but I think it will prevail.
And now another issue for the Supreme Court. It came out today. Trump slams the Supreme Court in his long statement. He says, though I do respect them greatly, but he's saying it's not possible to try every illegal migrant. And I mean, I guess there was this movement right after midnight on Friday, I believe, with the Alien Enemies Act. What's sort of the arguments and holdup? I saw Alito's say on my conservative Twitter scathing dissent, but what's the issue here?
This is a complicated case. I'll try and break it down as simply as I can. Mm-hmm. So you have about 50 Venezuelans who have been picked up off the street without arrest warrants. They are picked up just because they are Venezuelan, and they were scheduled for immediate deportation under the Alien Enemies Act. Trump is of the view that Venezuela is an enemy country. It doesn't qualify under the federal definition of enemy, but in his articulation, it is. Supreme Court said, if you want to use the Enemy Alien Act, and where the only basis for deportation is not personal fault, but background, the act itself enacted in 1798 requires a hearing. So you have to give these people a hearing. So there's 50 people in Texas at a holding facility about to get on a bus to take them to a plane to fly them to El Salvador when lawyers file a complaint with the federal district court judge. He denies the complaint, says, I'm not stopping the bus. They then did the unthinkable. They filed both an appeal in the Fifth Circuit in New Orleans, and they filed an emergency appeal with the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court ruled before the Fifth Circuit did. Supreme Court got the papers at 5:30 on a Saturday evening. And instead of asking, this is the rub of Justice Alito's dissent, instead of asking for the government to reply, they simply ruled and said, no deportation until further order of the court. Then the Fifth Circuit ruled, and they said, you can deport them. Now, of course, the Supreme Court trumps, no pun intended, the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals. So these detainees are still in the holding facility in Texas. Justice Alito's dissent says, look, we stop the government from doing things all the time, but we never stop it without hearing from the government. Why didn't we hear from the government before we voted on this? John Roberts, the Chief Justice, has perfected this emergency calendar where the court just issues an order without reasons. So Justice Alito's dissent, joined in by Justice Thomas, is just based on whatever he heard them say in their Zoom conference call at 6:00 on a Saturday night. There's no oral argument. There's no argument from the government, and there's no opinion from the court. That's where we are.
What a mess. And just to clarify real quick, when say these Venezuelans are required a hearing, and that's part of an earlier ruling as well, people might think of like a courtroom drama or whatnot. I mean, what would these hearings actually look like?
Well, first of all, it's before a judge, either an Article III judge, that's someone appointed by the president, confirmed by the Senate, a federal district court judge, or an immigration judge. The problem with immigration judges is they work for the prosecutor. They work for the Department of Justice. They're not real judges. Some of them aren't even lawyers. They're just hearing officers, and they have a tendency to want to please their bosses. You're not going to get a fair shake unless it's before an Article III judge. The hearing could last 5 minutes. It could last 5 days. It depends on what the evidence is. In the case of this fellow Garcia, the court would have said, well, wait a minute. I see that another judge has said he's not deportable because he's escaping gangs in El Salvador. Why would we send him there? He's not going. But they didn't hold a hearing for him, and that's why he's there. So the Garcia case is very instructive, and I think a lot of judges are terrified of sending the wrong person away. The administration is not, and that's the reason we have to have hearings. And if they're long and complicated, so be it. Due process is, everyone's entitled to due process, no matter how much of an emergency, Trump's word, we might be in.
And then the final thing here today, if you get the time, it's one thing whether or not to trust President Trump's instincts when it comes to war and peace, or even say somebody like a Steve Witkoff or, God forbid, Marco Rubio. But I'm worried where I'm looking at, say, negotiations with Iran or Russia and Ukraine, or looking at the ongoing war with Israel and Gaza, that the, say, neoconservative contingent, or let's call it careerist within the national security state, it's one of these things the populists are very frustrated with, that the people we elect to run the government don't actually run the government. And it seems like a lot of the career national security state gets their way no matter what we do. And, maybe Pete Hegseth, for instance, is a mess for having another one of these signal chat things. But I just find it interesting, as sitting here in Montgomery, that last week the New York Times shows Hegseth, of all people, saying we shouldn't strike Iran. We should hold our horses here. And now here comes the new stuff. I'm trying to march Hegseth out. It's just frustrating seeing, okay, we elected this guy to end the wars, and these folks who are career up there don't seem to want to be even following the first order.
Well, you and I have a wonderful mutual friend named Tom Woods who has a great one-liner, and that is, it seems no matter who you vote for president, you end up with John McCain. You end up with somebody with that attitude, whether it's because of the neocons around them or because the person enjoys war. Right. I mean, why did Donald Trump assassinate General Soleimani? That didn't advance any ball in any direction other than satisfying an impulse to kill somebody. The neocons are still prevalent in foreign policy. I was shocked that the leak said that Pete Hegseth advised against attacking Iran. I think that might be why he fired some people, because the leak made him appear less of a bully than he wants to appear, and he didn't want that side of him to be revealed out there. Unfortunately for Pete, there are many, many clips available of him saying, leakers should be fired immediately, leakers should be prosecuted. And here he is having friends and family, his brother, his wife, and his personal lawyer in on, none of them has a top secret security clearance, in on all these attack plan conversations. I don't get it. It's a sloppiness that our adversaries are laughing at, and that even Republicans are starting to grumble at it. Congressman Bacon, of whom I've never heard, but he's apparently a retired brigadier general in the Air Force, was blasting Hegseth this morning, saying if that happened to me when I was in the Air Force, even with the star on my shoulder, I'd be out looking for a job the next day.
Well, it's just, again, I've voted, and I think a lot of people voted to end the wars, and to see
They're not ending. Donald Trump could end both of them, Joey, with a phone call. He could say to Netanyahu, forget it, you're not getting any more weapons. And he could say the same thing to Zelensky. He hasn't.
Right.
He's trying to blame these wars on Biden. Okay, Biden facilitated them, but they're not Biden's wars anymore. He's been in office for 100 days. They're his wars.
There you go. And we'll see. We'll see where it goes next. It's very frustrating either way. And to see the sort of palace intrigue, the leak game to the, say, top magazines or, newspapers in the country. It's like I've seen this gambit before, and it's frustrating at the end of the day, to put it mildly. I always appreciate your time, Judge. I really do. If folks want to check out, what you're talking about on Judging Freedom, how can they do so?
I just had Pepe Escobar from Hong Kong, who just finished a week with Chinese officials and academics. And if Donald Trump thinks that the Chinese government is going to come calling like a dog with his tail between his legs, he's got another thing coming. Aaron Mate on Netanyahu's latest woes, which are quite serious, domestic, political, and legal woes. And Karen Kwiatkowski, do we still have a functional democracy? Let's see. The president declares wars. The president executes people. The president imposes taxes. Do we still have a functioning democracy? So that's what we're doing today.
Y'all check it out, Judging Freedom. And I always, as I said, appreciate the time. God bless, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, my man. All the best.
Again, folks, it's Judge Andrew Napolitano. Great having him here on the program to kick off Tuesdays on a usual basis. Trump now saying very good chance of a Russia-Ukraine deal. But as I was saying yesterday, I'm worried that things are slowing down. We're getting caught up in a lot of the usual games Washington, D.C., and the political class in this country play. That said, it's interesting, say, when you hear about the talk of bombing Iran, have you seen any polling on that? Anybody? Seen any polling on that? Interesting how this is such a big part of the conversation, but you're not seeing these snap polls that usually, if it's given the right answer, you'll see it all over the corporate media, including, of course, Fox News. As I said earlier, I think when you look at, say, the markets and how up, down they are, the Dow's up about 2%, just shy of 2% right now. It's down a lot yesterday. So the volatility in the markets, as well as the volatility in, say, the treasury markets, it's leading, I think, people to safe havens. Gold is at a historic high. And just today, you're now starting to see Bitcoin boom again. As I last checked a few minutes ago, hitting about a little over 90,000, making a run up, about 7% up on the week. So it's like the uncertainty, the volatility is leading folks to pull back. And maybe this is the game. You get a lot of gold inflows into the United States. You see more and more players within the United States. If not the government itself, might start quietly buying Bitcoin. It could be setting the stage for, say, the so-called Mar-a-Lago Accords. You're also seeing moves here or there. You know, the Department of Education, for instance, is to resume federal student loan collections. And collections begin. 5 million borrowers are already in default. Damn. Now, I think the way a lot of this higher education, go to college, young man, young woman, go to college, get the degree, they said, and you'll get a great job, they said. But when you look at, say, the numbers, compare generations, at the same point in life, I think millennials are earning 30% less as boomers. I don't mean like today. Obviously, people who are older have had time are going to have higher wealth and more opportunity to make more wealth. The experience and time does give you that advantage. It tends to. But if you actually look at the same period in life, I believe younger folks are not seeing the same opportunities despite taking out boatloads of debt. Now they're the ones who made that decision. They decided, I'm going to take out these loans to pursue this. You could argue the individual needs to follow due diligence. But when you see an entire class of people now caught as essentially debt serfs to the federal government that backed all these things, what a mess. What an absolute mess. Of course, the Dems are now rolling out a dark woke strategy, whatever the heck that means. We'll get into it. As you see, Hakeem Jeffries, the minority leader there in the House of Representatives in the Congress, is getting in a fight with David Hogg, who I guess is the vice chair for the Democratic National Committee at this point. And they're fighting over whether or not to primary incumbents. They're fighting over just general strategy. Should we accept Trump, some of his ideas, say on border security? Should we not accept it? Should we fight and fight and fight some more and never admit defeat, even on 90-10, 80-20 issues? Well, we'll see. The Supreme Court also is about to hear oral arguments on forcing young children to read, quote-unquote, homosexual-themed books. It's actually out of Montgomery County in the Washington, D.C. area, not Montgomery County, Alabama, where parents are at least asking for an opt-out provision. And these are mostly parents of Jewish, Muslim, and Christian, Catholic in particular, faiths, who are saying, yeah, I don't want my kids at a young age in elementary school being read Puppy Pride or whatever the heck that is, you weirdos. And of course, we are on the cusp of the Supreme Court justices. They will hear arguments on Trump's effort to end birthright citizenship. Oh, and speaking of President Trump, he is now scheduled to give the commencement address at the University of Alabama this year. What an honor. I think when I graduated from Auburn, it was the one year they did the graduation on the football field in Jordan-Hare. It was really hot. All our robes were black robes. I think some people fell out from heat stroke. And as salt in the wound, our commencement speaker wasn't Donald Trump. It was Press Secretary Robert Gibbs, who had the brilliant knowledge of saying, when the door opens for you, don't shut it behind you on the way going through it. I'm like, well, that's how you get flies. That's how you get wasps and all sorts of things in your house. Why didn't you born in a barn? Shut the door, Robert Gibbs. Oh, he was talking about opportunities. Thanks for that wisdom of when you succeed in life, maybe help other people. Like, thank you for having to tell me that. I appreciate the usual liberal condescension, like they're saying something absolutely earth-shattering when it's the most banal cookie-cutter, fortune cookie crap. Well, just have empathy and help others. Yeah. I think Jesus beat you to the punch. Anyway, we got to hit a break here. But first, this part of the program brought to you by Bo Goodson and the Goodson Group. And there at the Goodson Group, Bo and the team are ready to help you out with buying or selling your property, your home here in the River Region real estate market. Bo's been working the Montgomery and surrounding areas for about 50 years now, half a century. And so not only can they help you at the Goodson Group with buying and selling your property, they have management services available should you want to rent your home out. It's a great idea in this market, but it's a bit of a pain in the butt to manage that property yourself. Why not have the Goodson Group do it for you for a reasonable fee? And then the crown jewel there is the Bo Goodson Real Estate School, one of the most highly acclaimed and accredited real estate programs in the state of Alabama, whether you want to be a more knowledgeable private player in the real estate market or a fully licensed real estate agent. Can't go wrong with the Bo Goodson Real Estate School. In fact, you're growing very, very right indeed. So check them out today. You can always go to thegoodsongroup.com to learn more or give them a call direct at 551-0225. That's 551-0225. Bo Goodson and the Goodson Group, great sponsor here of the program.
Want to carry News Talk in your pocket? Download the News Talk 93.1 app from the App Store. Available on iPhone and Android. Never miss a moment. Download now.
This is your roving reporter, and today I am talking with an elk. Hey man, Mr. Elk, I was just wondering, what do elk do to take care of their money? Well, like most smart folks, we call David Ernest. You mean Alabama's most favorite asset preservationist? That's him, man. We call him up at 334-279-7431 or 205-479-0839. I see. Yes, he is our preferred money man. The money man with the money plan. You've been paying attention. Well, could you give us those numbers one more time? 334-279-7431 or 205-479-0839. And I just want to try to give you a heads up, man. Oh, what's that? I'm not an elk. Not an elk, huh? Well, then, pray tell, what are you? Knights of Columbus. I am not even going to make a comment. Well, the baby liked it.
With Progressive, it's easy to reach customer service with our app, website, chat, or by phone. Because when getting help is hard, it's not help at all.
Little help. Little hobo over here.
Thank you for calling Bench Press Assistance.
What?
Due to excessive gym volume, all available spotters are currently lifting heavy weights off the chests of other bench pressers.
Seriously?
Please continue to hold, and we will remove the barbell from your chest in the order in which your cry for help was received.
Getting assistance should be easy. With Progressive, it is. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
If a carpet refresh is on your to-do list, now's the time to check it off, because right now you can take advantage of our Buy More, Save More savings. The more you buy, the more you save, up to 15% on select special order carpet purchases. Plus, the Home Depot Home Services can handle the installation for you. All that's left is to enjoy that stunning new carpet and step into softness. The Home Depot, how doers get more done. Offer valid April 17th through May 4th. Receive up to 15% off special select order carpet purchases. Minimum purchase required. Exclusions apply. For licenses, see homedepot.com/license numbers.
For too long, Alabama's statewide news companies have shamed us for our conservative Christian values. Alabama deserves a news company that cherishes our culture, a company that isn't bought and paid for by the powers that be. 1819 News is that company. Run by Alabamians for Alabamians, 1819 News celebrates what is good and beautiful about our state, while exposing those who work against our values in secret. Just go to 1819news.com to learn more. Subscribe to our newsletter. That's 1819news.com.
Hi, I'm Cheryl Woodward, account executive with Blue Water Broadcasting. Why should you advertise with us? Radio is an active medium. It can create immediacy, driving shoppers to a specific store, brand, or to take a specific action. Radio ads engage with the audience in a personal and unique way. Contact me, Cheryl Woodward, by going to bluewaterbroadcasting.com to find out more. Blue Water Broadcasting, local folks helping local business.
Rich Thomas Weather, a service of Riverside Chevrolet Wetumpka. If it's Chevy, it's Riverside. Best price, best selection. Check them out on the web at riversideusa.net.
Rich Thomas Weather.
Well, hi, everybody. We could actually use a little rain. And if you have our weather app, you'll be able to track a few storms here and there scattered about on radar and future radar. It will continue very warm today with a high temperature up to about 84. Mild tonight, overnight low temperature 63. Tomorrow, maybe some widely scattered showers and storms possible. Still warm, high 86. I think we'll be in the upper 80s Thursday and maybe teasing 90 degrees by Friday and Saturday. From the Blue Water Weather Center, this is Rich Thomas.
ASE's 25 and 25 has you covered. For just $25 in closing costs, you can tap into your home's equity. No hidden fees, no headaches, just extra cash. Visit your local ASE Credit Union branch today. Federally insured by NCUA, NMLS 420259. Terms apply.
ASE Credit Union. Your life, your cause, your ASE.
News and talk without the static. The River Region's most trusted voice. News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
If you get a cough, please leave it alone.
Joey Clark.
Welcome back. Let's showcase the Democrats for a second, because I think they're a little lost in the wilderness. They don't have leadership. In fact, a lot of the big names they're complaining about being right-wing and are very much liberal, have been Democrats for most of their lives until this recent election. Had donated to the Democrats and voted for the Democrats until this recent election. And one guy who kind of lays this out, I was in conversation with, I think, the Free Press. That's the name of the organization, the Free Press, Barry Weiss. But it was Peter Thiel. And he's going to talk about here the intellectual straitjacket that the Democrats and the left have placed on their own members. For instance, today, Larry David penned an op-ed, a guest essay in the New York Times where it was called My Dinner with Adolf. Essentially mocking Bill Maher for having dinner and talking about his dinner with Donald Trump. Because, of course, everything comes back to calling your opponent Hitler. So that's just a little example that we've always known Larry David's a prick. He's made a whole career out of it, and he's quite hilarious at being a prick, but he is one. Well, when he was poor, he was a schmuck. Now he's rich, he's a prick. Excuse me, pardon me. But here is Peter Thiel laying out, well, the shift that's happened. What explains the shift? Then we'll get into a few of the Democrats while trying to do their level best these days. But let's listen to this first.
24, almost 25 years. And, he was never doctrinaire, but
Elon Musk, I guess, is who he's talking about.
For the first 20 years, he was left of center. Tesla was a clean energy electric vehicle company. The Republicans were these people who didn't believe in climate change. And so it was sort of naturally much more comfortable in sort of deep blue Democratic California. And then at some point, Elon shifted, and it's overdetermined why he shifted or why you shifted or some of these other people did.
I didn't shift, Peter. Everyone else just moved.
Everyone, but
everyone feels that way, of course.
But I know these things are overdetermined, but I keep thinking part of it is just this sort of straitjacket is not what you all signed up for. This intellectual straitjacket where you're not allowed to have ideas. Even if you agree with 80%, it's never enough. You have to be 100%.
And you can find, famous folks who are on the left and then jump to the right or jump to at least to the Republicans, maybe not the right, that have often said this. And you can even go back to read George Orwell, especially as he's in the middle of the Spanish Civil War, where there's always this trap door on the left of you're not liberal enough or you're not left-wing enough. And actually, that's not even correct. It's not necessarily an ideological thing. Like you're not principled enough on XYZ. It is much more a function, the trap door of, well, you've been a good member of the team, but you're not enough of a party member. So we're pulling the trap door out from under you. I don't care that we're supporting things that are crazy to 90 or 80% of the country. I don't care if you didn't sign up for this. Instead, you would rather be fighting the good fight, say in the class war against the millionaires and billionaires or whatever. Well, there are donors now. So you need to get with the program. I don't care what you believe. Get with the program and support the party. And it's that sort of mentality, I think, that has led them down an odd road. I mean, why else would people say Joe Biden is sharp as a tack? Why else would Joe Biden say, especially the Democrats here in Montgomery, you better be listening, that the whole transgender kids thing is a civil rights issue of our time? Yeah, that when folks are marching from Selma, I'm sure they're thinking about, well, down the road, as we're bending the arc of history and towards justice, we're going to have those sex changes for the kids, or else they'll commit suicide. No, that's exactly what they were talking about. But no, this is the direction the party's going. We've decided, the tastemakers in the party, the cool kids at the top of the club, have decided this is where we're going. And if you're not a good party member, if you waffle on this or you start to sound too right-wing on this, you're out. We're pulling the trapdoor out from under you. You're done. The problem is they did this to way too many people. Way too many people. And especially did it to people that wouldn't carry the party line on, say, cable news or in traditional media. These were mostly liberal people who started to get big names and big platforms in the online space, in the podcast space, whatever you want to call it, new media. And, you do this to one person, they're gone. For the longest time, and rightfully so, Alex Jones was gone after the whole Sandy Hook thing. Remember Milo Yiannopoulos? When they canceled him, he was gone. Fell off the face of the earth. Both Alex Jones and Milo are back on Twitter. Alex Jones never slowed down, given his huge following. Really didn't slow down. But when it came to Milo, he's not back to where he was. So it used to be this stuff worked. That you could cancel people. But if you go through the years, they started to do it to too many people to where you created this whole new category of person who's been canceled by the official Democratic narrative. They're still kind of live 90s liberals. And they're realizing, I can actually team up with Trump. And I think Trump's making a good point about the working class being screwed over in this country. I think Trump's making a good point about keeping men out of women's sports, protecting women's spaces in women's sports. And you can go down the list of these easy issues that even, say, the person who's kind of that 90s liberal, it's like, yeah, I'd rather go with that. How about securing the border? That was a big thing for the 90s liberals. And in fact, that's where I would have begun. The House Minority Leader, Hakeem Jeffries, he's already starting to realize we really screwed the pooch here. So they're going to just do an about face, shamelessly. The party is going to do an about face, shamelessly. They're going to try to do it. And it might work with, say, some mushy middle centrist types who really it's a coin flip what they might decide on any given election day. So if you can convince the mushy middle that, hey, yeah, we really believe in the secure, strong border now, maybe you can convince them. But here's what I'm talking about. This is, I think, Jessica Tarlov hosting some debate or some conversation with Hakeem Jeffries.
One of the main reasons that we lost the 2024 election was that we let hundreds of millions of people stream across the border. So what is the Democratic plan to show people that we're serious about this problem?
Well, we definitely have to be clear that we believe that we should have a secure border. That's first and foremost. And
why should we believe you, Hakeem? Why should we believe you? You had millions and millions of people flow into the country while you claimed you did have a secure border. Throughout the whole election, you're like, we needed that bipartisan piece of legislation that James Langford, a Republican, cooked up. Yeah, with some gun being held to his head by Leader McConnell. I'm pretty certain of it. Guess what? You didn't need that bipartisan piece of crap bill. Give and Go lied about this, not only saying, well, we're securing the border or we need more legislation to secure the border. At the same time you're saying that, you're expediting the entry of millions of people into the country. And now turning around and crying, holy hell, if somebody tries to deport anybody in this country. We can let in millions, but it's going to take forever to just deport one or two. We're going to keep doing that. So why should we believe Hakeem now? We have to make clear that we believe this. Well, your actions, all surrounded around your statements, sir, they don't suggest that you actually believe anything like that. But let's just hear them out.
That we believe that we should have a secure border.
Yeah.
That's first and foremost.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we've repeatedly endeavored to make that clear throughout this Congress.
Yeah,
we were slow to act as an administration and as a party on the southern border crisis. And it hurt us not simply with traditional Republican voters or swing voters, but in some segments of our own base communities and in communities of color, including right here in New York.
That's infuriating. Well, we were slow to respond to the crisis. You created the crisis. Why don't you own up to it? Why don't you own up to the frickin' strategy you've been pursuing for a long time now? You created the crisis. You bring in millions of folks. You get them on benefits all throughout the country. What good is it of being a citizen anymore? So we can vote in fake elections, and whoever we vote in, the bureaucracy still runs the show? Not good enough, sir. You're going to have to try better. I think it's going to take a while. And a lot of it's going to haunt them for at least months. Elizabeth Warren just went on a podcast. And this is the thing. You're going to get plenty of folks who are plenty liberal, who know how to, in a talented, compelling way, host a show. Ask good questions. Do the long form hour or two thing with great guests. The problem is these politicians aren't trained to do that. They're used to the soundbite world. They're still used to, I can get this in 5 minutes and get out. But when you actually have to have a conversation with somebody, say for 2 hours, 3 hours, stuff comes up. And here's a perfect example of one of these soundbite lies that was pushed for a while. that in long form gets exposed more and more. And this is one of the worst people. I don't know why she gets my ire so much, but Elizabeth Warren, Pocahontas. She's asked about Joe Biden's mental acuity. Something about being sharp as a tack. Let's listen in.
Do you regret saying that President Biden had...
Who is that interview? Do you regret that? Sorry. He's asking a good question. I don't need to make fun of the guy.
Saying that President Biden had a mental acuity. He had a sharpness to him. You said that up until July of last year.
I said what I believe to be true.
Oh.
And you think he was as sharp as you?
I said I had not seen decline.
Huh?
And I hadn't at that point.
You did not see any decline from 2024 Joe Biden to 2021 Joe Biden?
Not when I said that. You know, the thing is, he was sharp. He was on his feet. I saw him. Live event. I had meetings with him a couple of times.
Senator, on his feet is not praise.
No.
He can speak in sentences is not praise.
All right. Fair enough. Fair enough. Look, it is. The question is, what are we going to do now?
Yeah, the question is, what are you going to do now? Maybe you could own up with a straight face to all the crap you spewed at the American people. Well, I said what I believe. You really believe Joe Biden hadn't been declining? You're a liar. You're a phony. You're as fake as your Native American heritage. Well, the question is what we need to do now. I agree. What you need to do now is own up to the nonsense you pushed for so long in this country. Of course, there's new leaders, young leaders on the Democratic side of the aisle rising up. They've had darling media careers. Some have even supposedly survived school shootings. Here's David Hogg talking with Jen Psaki or Saki it to me. I don't know. She's one-on-one with DNC Vice Chair David Hogg. Let's hear what the young Hogg has to say.
This doesn't violate bylaws.
No.
It is something that has...
And other vice chairs have been involved in primaries before.
Yeah, it's something, though, that has angered traditional DNC members.
Some of them.
Or some of them. I don't want to overstate. But how do you think, I mean, are you ready to put that at risk? I mean, if they said you can't do this, are you going to still...
This is a break the glass moment.
So meaning if they tell you you can't do this, you're going to leave your vice chair job.
Ultimately, if they decide to remove me, I have no control over that. I'm going to do everything I got elected to this position to fight to win back our young people and make sure that across the board with every single demographic pretty much except the elderly and the highly educated, we lost margins this past election cycle. This is a major crisis for our party right now, and it needs to be met with the ferocity it deserves so that we're able to win back those young people, win back the margins that we lost with a lot of those demographics. And that's not going to happen with the traditional tactics of just standing by and acting like, oh, let's just play our turn and let's just hope if we put $200 million behind these frontline candidates that we're just all of a sudden going to get winning again. We need bold tactics in this moment. Our base knows it. And I will tell you, although there are people in this town that this is upset that are benefiting from the status quo, they want to do two things at the same time. They want to keep the same people in the positions of power that they're in right now, and they want to win, but we cannot do that. We have to bring in new people. So if people want to support our work, they can go to leaderswedeserve.com.
And this is Leaders We Deserve, is the organization Hogg is now spun up. It's a political organization founded by Hogg all the way back in 2023. He announced a $20 million plan aimed at supporting younger Democratic candidates in safe blue districts, even if it means backing primary challengers against sitting Democrats. Of course, this has sparked significant backlash within the party. It's back to my earlier point. You're not playing the game for the party anymore, are you, David? We know you're young, dumb, and full of ideas. But you have to learn to obey before you can command, young sir. Get with the program. Get with the party. It'll be interesting to see if any of this ever works out. But my piece of advice is, even if David Hogg isn't that impressive, stop it with the old folks. Stop it with the old Democrats. Like, even when James Carville makes sense half the time, he's still scaring babies all across the country. This bald, freaky-looking self. Get away from the Clintons. Get away from that era. Get away from even the Obamas and the Axelrods and the Rahm Emanuels, yada, yada, yada. Maybe you should embrace some younger folks. Maybe David Hogg has a good point there. Why do I say this? Well, this is Al Gore. Al Gore had something to say at a climate change summit where he's talking about how it's not right at all. I'm super serial. It's not right to compare people to the Nazis. But now, let's compare people, Trump, to the Nazis.
In mind, I want to note that before I use what is not a precedent, I understand very well why it is wrong to compare Adolf Hitler's Third Reich to any other movement. It was uniquely evil, full stop. I get it.
Uh-huh.
But there are important lessons from the history of that emergent evil.
Full stop, sir. Full stop. None of this big hairy butt. I keep going.
And here is one that I regard as essential. In the immediate aftermath of World War II,
yeah,
a small group of philosophers who had escaped Hitler's murderous regime returned to Germany and performed a kind of moral autopsy
Sure, they did.
on the Third Reich.
A lot of them did.
The most famous of the so-called Frankfurt School of philosophers was a man named Jürgen Habermas.
Yeah, I've read about
Best
Habermas.
known, I would say. But it was Habermas's mentor, Theodor Adorno, who wrote that the first step in that nation's descent into hell was, and I quote, the conversion of all questions of truth into questions of power. He described how the Nazis, and I quote again, attacked the very heart of the distinction between true and false.
I laugh at this because is that not what you've been doing for decades? The conversion of all questions of truth into questions of power. So when you had the big three networks and a few cable networks and the New York Times and the Washington Post were the only frickin' game in town, especially on matters of war and peace, it was all about the truth? Or maybe you were exerting power by playing gatekeeper and only letting a few official voices tell a particular narrative. But I'm sure they always told the truth, though they could never be challenged. What do you think the woke movement is all about? Yeah, they learned that from Nazi Germany, and now, well, we can do it, but in a socialist way. It's not a matter of truth. It's a matter of power for certain interest groups. If I can remember my Jürgen Habermas, he called it the emancipatory cognitive interest, where interest in the search for knowledge become one. To dumb it down, the group identity matters more. The solidarity of the group can allow you to push certain ideas and certain narratives. But it becomes about the power of the group. It becomes about the power disparities between groups. Everything is reduced down to power. Y'all have been doing this for a long time. If you actually want to have good faith discussions, I'm all for it. But this is the sort of bad faith crap that old farts like Al Gore continue to push. Well, the Nazis were completely uniquely evil, full stop. But let me compare the Trump administration to them by accusing the Trump administration of doing things we've been doing for decades. It's not a winning message, Al. Maybe it works with old timers who are just as senile as your old fart butt. But it's not working with everyday people. In fact, this whole new media, this whole realignment, is, I think, the revenge of the truth. Or at least groping towards something that's true, as opposed to listening to the latest authoritative voices on why we need to go this, that, or the other direction on war or climate change or anything else. It's nonsense. Always has been. 272-9228 if you want to get in on the conversation. I got to hit my top of the hour break, but first, this part of the program brought to you by Montgomery Men's Health. And they're at Montgomery Men's Health. They're ready to help you fellas out, especially if you're not feeling quite like yourself. And you're worried about, like, I don't have any snap in my turtle. Like, I've just got never in the mood. Even when I'm in the mood, it doesn't work. Maybe I'll buy one of those, like, national pills or something. No, those are expensive and they often don't work, folks. Instead, what you need to do is go by Montgomery Men's Health. They can do a lab workup plus a consultation for only $99. It's really just a quick blood draw. They ask you a few quality of life questions. How are you sleeping? How's your sex drive? Are you getting unwanted weight gain? Are you feeling a little down and depressed, lacking motivation? And if you're answering yes to a lot of stuff, and then that blood test comes back and goes, hey, man, you got low T, you have low testosterone. They have treatments there at Montgomery Men's Health that can work on the very same day. You can be feeling better on the very same day you find out you have low T. But you got to get by there, because after treatment, men can experience higher energy, better gains in the gym, brother, better mental clarity, improved sleep patterns, a faster metabolism, and you usually even notice an increased libido, that life force, that sex drive. So call them up today. Make an appointment today at 440-3663. That's 440-3663. Or go to MontgomeryMen'sHealth.com. Again, to book your appointment today. Second hour coming up. Again, 334-272-9228 if you want to get in on the conversation.
Broadcasting from the Riverside Chevrolet Master Control Center, this is WACV Cusana, News Talk 93.1 FM. When it's Chevy, it's Riverside.
With SRN News, I'm John Scott. The funeral for Pope Francis will be Saturday in St. Peter's Square. House Oversight Committee Chairman James Comer recommends Andrew Cuomo for criminal prosecution. Comer recommending to Attorney General Pam Bondi, the former governor, be charged with making false statements to Congress regarding New York's COVID-19 nursing home disaster. Vice President J.D. Vance has called for greater collaboration with India in sectors such as defense, energy, and technology. Vance is on a 4-day tour of India. He met with Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Monday and confirmed the two sides have formally finalized the terms of reference for a trade deal. Stocks higher, the Dow and the other two major indexes up over 1%. This is SRN News.
Financing a home, especially in today's market, is one of the biggest decisions you'll make for your family. Work with a mortgage company that puts you first. I do. Work with a lender founded on biblical principles like do unto others as you'd have them do unto you. I do. It's Mike Gallagher for the only mortgage company I've used for almost a decade now when financing or refinancing Fellowship Home Loans. I'm friends with the owners, Mike and Brian. I even have them on my show occasionally. I know the care their team puts into every single customer. I can personally tell you that it's a smooth, stress-free process. And that's due to Fellowship's level of service and expertise that puts you in the right loan for your family and your goals. There's a reason Fellowship Home Loans is flooded with 5-star reviews. Whether purchasing a home or a cash-out refi to consolidate some higher interest debt, you can trust Fellowship Home Loans. Start the process. Make the call. 800-510-MIKE, 800-510-MIKE, 800-510-6453. Fellowship Home Loans, mortgage lending by the book.
Nationwide Mortgage Bankers, Equal Housing Lender, NMLS number 819382.
Weather, a service of H&H Carpets, where right now, get a load of this, listen close, you get a house full of carpet for $19.95 installed. Unbelievable. They're located at 6450 Atlanta Highway, just across from Walmart.
Rich Thomas weather.
Well, hi, everybody. We could actually use a little rain. And if you have our weather app, you'll be able to track a few storms here and there scattered about on radar and future radar. It will continue very warm today with a high temperature up to about 84. Mild tonight, overnight low temperature 63. Tomorrow, maybe some widely scattered showers and storms possible. Still warm, high 86. I think we'll be in the upper 80s Thursday and maybe teasing 90 degrees by Friday and Saturday. From the Blue Water Weather Center, this is Rich Thomas.
From the Blue Water Broadcasting News Center, these are today's top stories. During a recent appearance on MSNBC's Politics Nation, Montgomery Mayor Stephen Reed spoke on the city's response to efforts by President Trump to round up and deport illegal aliens. Reed stated he believed Trump's immigration policies are targeting black mayors specifically, and when it comes to immigration, we stand ready to defend our residents. Governor Kay Ivey has ordered flags throughout the state to continue to be flown at half-staff on Friday in honor of former Lieutenant Governor George McMillan. The flags, which are currently lowered in respect for Pope Francis, will remain at half-staff on the day of McMillan's funeral. George McMillan passed away on Friday at 81 years old. The state legislatures of Alabama and Mississippi will compete against each other in a charity softball game tomorrow. The matchup takes place at Montgomery's Riverwalk Stadium at 6 p.m. with festivities beginning at 5:30. Proceeds from the game will benefit Children's Hospital of Alabama. From the Blue Water Broadcasting News Center, I'm Sky Mosley.
This hour of news and views is brought to you by our good friends at Alabama Home Mortgage. Alabama Home Mortgage, 567-4223. Visit them on the web at myalabamahomemortgage.com. NMLS number 1586368. An equal housing lender.
Don't you love the feeling of coming home to a clean house? Let Southern Bell's cleaning service get your home in order. Families in the River region trust Southern Bell's because they know Callan and Jesse will show up on time and believe in cleaning the old-fashioned way. They bring all their own supplies and specialize in full-service, residential, commercial, vacant properties, and construction cleanup. Estimates are always free. Call Southern Bells today at 546-0715 or follow them on Facebook at Southern Bells Cleaning River Region.
Hi there, I'm Madeline Cannon with Alabama Home Mortgage. Getting pre-approved is the first step towards home ownership. People are often scared or nervous about taking that first step, but I'll tell you, it's nothing to be scared of. At Alabama Home Mortgage, we will take the first step and every step along the way with you. Call us at 567-4223. We will gather the information needed to tell you exactly what you qualify for. After a call to Alabama Home Mortgage, you will know what price point to shop for, what down payment is required, if any, and what your monthly mortgage payment will look like. We take all the guessing out of it. Then, when you find the house you want to make your home, you are ready to make an offer. Along with your offer, you will submit your Alabama Home Mortgage pre-approval letter. This shows sellers that you've already taken the steps necessary to ensure that you qualify to purchase their home. Wait no longer. It's time to take that first step together. Call me at 567-4223 or start the process online at myalabamahomemortgage.com.
That's Alabama Home Mortgage because, folks, there is a difference in mortgage companies. NMLS 1586-36-8, Equal Housing Lender.
This is gonna be fun.
Tonight on the CW, you know what happens in Vegas ain't staying in Vegas.
Get hype, baby. Welcome to NXT.
After the epic stand and deliver showdown, NXT superstars are bringing the fire, baby.
They could be the main event at WrestleMania.
Can you dig it, sucker? It's NXT from Las Vegas, all new tonight on the CW.
Tune in to Montgomery CW tonight at 7 p.m.
At Guardian Credit Union, if it's important to you, it's important to us. We don't do banking differently. We do relationships differently. Want to secure a HELOC for home projects? So do we. Want to build your credit? So do we. Want to plan your next vacation? So do we. We're here to help with whatever's next, because whatever you want in life, so do we. Stop by any of our branches and let's plan your next step together. Guardian Credit Union, where you belong. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal Housing Opportunity. NMLS 912757.
Join Jones Drugs on Saturday, April 26, 10 to 2, as they partner with the police department for the National DEA Drug Take Back event. Come by the parking lot of the Prattville, Millbrook, Montgomery, or Phoenix City locations and bring your unwanted, unneeded, or expired prescriptions. That's Saturday, April 26, 10 to 2.
The views and opinions of the following program are solely those of the host and other contributors. These do not necessarily represent those of Liberty Acquisitions 825, Blue Water Broadcasting, its management, staff, or any advertisers. It's time for Montgomery's conversational radio show. It's News and Views on News Talk 93.1 FM. To join the conversation, call 272-9228.
second hour of the program here. We call it News and Views locally, but you can find us online at Joey Clark Live on YouTube, or just watch on X at the Joey Clark on X. And joining me now in the studio, always love seeing her smiling face, we have Madeline Cannon with Alabama Home Mortgage. Hey, how you doing?
We're here. We're live.
I know there's so much going on, but it's a nice reprieve. And I've gotten word from you off air just now, but from several sources I know. Looks like the real estate, the housing market's picking up here.
Yes, and that's pretty much par for the course. We expected that with it going into the summer months. This is normally the real prime season for people to be buying and selling.
Awesome. So, like, what sort of movement are you seeing?
Well, the second wave of military are starting to get their orders. So we're seeing a lot of VA pre-approvals looking to find a home before they make their way here to Maxwell Air Force Base. And then also with school wrapping up. So people know that, the kids are almost out of school. Now we've got to find where we're going to land before they start back in the fall.
And by the way, I should have snipped it and sent it to y'all, but I believe it was yesterday. I had a gentleman call in and said he was working at the Kennedy Space Center. And last second, he needed to move into the area, and he was able to go through y'all and get the process moving before he even moved from Texas. Like, he had like a month window to actually get all this done. He said because of y'all, he was actually able to get it done smoothly and swiftly.
That's awesome. Yeah, we pride ourselves in doing things very quickly, especially for those that are out of state. We know you're on a timeline, and it's hard to sometimes navigate the logistics when you're not here, but we're able to handle everything by phone and email. So it doesn't matter what time zone you're on, or if you may be in another country. We just pre-approved somebody who's in Italy, got their orders coming to Montgomery. So wherever you're listening from, as long as you're looking to purchase a home in either Alabama, Georgia, Florida, or Tennessee, we can help you at Alabama Home Mortgage.
And I'd imagine, their veterans do this a lot, or let's say active duty do this a lot. They obviously have to move a good bit, but it'd be nice, I'm sure, for these folks that have to move a lot to work with pros like y'all, where the latest in, like, okay, whether it's veterans or active duty, here's the sort of things we can do for y'all.
That's right. So we're certified veteran lending specialists, which means that we keep up with the ins and outs of the VA home loan program. The guidelines are ever changing. And so we want to make sure that we keep up with that program so that we can serve our veterans the best.
Now, are you seeing folks move to refinance for different reasons?
Yes. And I'm glad you brought that up. So as many of your listeners know, I'm a mom first. I'm a loan originator second. And something that I've always taught my boys is don't talk to strangers. And here lately, I've been having to teach my clients that don't talk to strangers, especially when it comes time to discuss big things like your mortgages. So here recently, everybody's been receiving a lot of solicitations by mail, by phone, and they promise you the world, offering you rates that, may be available on the market. But hey, we forgot to mention that it's going to cost tens of thousands to secure that. And you're going to eat all your equity doing so.
Go.
So the big print giveth and the little print taketh away, right?
Yeah.
So we always tell people, if you get something in the mail or you receive a phone call offering you terms to refinance your home, give us a call first. Let's look at it and make sure it's not too good to be true.
Folks, it does just begin with the conversation, and you got to go with Madeline and Kim there at Alabama Home Mortgage, because, y'all are a fixture in the community. I've been sponsors of this program for ages and ages. Like, it's very different than somebody called you up or somebody emailed you or you went to some whatever.com real quick, or even just walking into a big bank. Like, there's a say local personalized touch. And of course, y'all take great pride in being able to get the best possible deal for folks.
That's right. And while we're on this note, oftentimes people will fill out like an inquiry on realtor.com, Zillow. They're looking for a home and it'll tell them to enter their information. And as soon as they hit go, they're bombarded with hundreds of phone calls from every 1-800 lender there is in the country. Do not do that. If you want to get pre-approved and talk through your numbers and see if that home you're looking at online is within reach, call us at 567-4223 or visit us online at myalabamahomemortgage.com, and we can talk through those numbers without farming your information out to everybody.
Again, that's 567-4223, or you say 567-4223. And myalabamahomemortgage.com. And you can just do an application there, and then y'all will get in touch with the folks.
That's right. So if you can't reach us during business hours, we understand you work too. And so you can always go online to myalabamahomemortgage.com and fill out an application, whether you're looking to refinance or get pre-approved to buy a new home.
Folks, there is a difference in mortgage lenders. Let Kim and Madeline here prove that to you today. NMLS number 1586368, an equal housing lender. You got a little time to stick around?
Yeah, sure. It looks like you need some company today. Where's Eddie.
I don't know. I think he's busy. I mean, you know the mantra he lives by.
Always be closing.
Right. Like
I hear ya.
he's got to, make hay while the sun's shining.
Understood.
And yeah, I think you would get that better than anybody. It's interesting how it does pop up seasonal, all these cycles. But there's one interview that's been going viral. I believe it's out of Australia or New Zealand. It sounds like one of the, just from the accents.
Okay.
This is though one of the craziest things I've ever seen. And I don't know if this is a common thing with like twins, with like sisters. Some people are likening it to The Shining.
Okay.
But it's a news report. So here, I just want to kind of not characterize it anymore because it's one of the weirdest things I've ever seen.
All right, let's hear it.
All right, here we go.
Witnesses are recounting some of the drama that unfolded on the Sunshine Coast this afternoon. Two sisters have told how their mother and man raced to help when the carjacked SUV rolled on Steve Irwin Way, only to find the gun-wielding car thief emerging from the wreck. Here's some of what they had to say.
And one guy, he was up there with our mum, and he went up there, and he was coming back down towards us, and he goes, "Run! He's got a gun!" And our heart started to pound. And I
Okay. They are clearly twins. They're wearing the same exact outfit, which is like, it almost looks like nurse scrubs, but with like cartoon bunnies all over it.
Yeah. It's like they're two people with one brain.
I know. It's especially how they were finishing the sentence in perfect unison.
There is a show, and I don't know if it's still on the air. It was a few years back. It was called Extreme Sisters. It came on TLC, the learning channel, where you learn things you never thought you needed to learn. But anyway, it had a set of twins just like these that talked in sync together. I don't understand.
And let's keep going with this. See how long maybe it's just how they communicate.
said, "Oh, Mum, where's Mum?" And poor Mum was stuck up there, but apparently our brave Mum, she goes, "Are you all right?" Because he had all blood all over his face. And he goes, "I'll shoot you." She goes, "Hey, I'm here to help."
And Mum distracting him to make him look the other way, and he looked the other way, and Mum ran
into the bush behind the fence.
Okay.
And the guy goes to her, "I'll find you and I'll shoot you." All I was thinking about when we were running, I hope he doesn't fire. Yeah, we were so blessed.
How close to him?
And like, it looks like the one on the left, from our point of view,
she's the leader.
Yeah, she leads it. The other one sort of finishes her sentences.
Yeah. It's almost like there's an echo.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh,
now you're doing it.
Now you're doing it. Yeah. No, that is the damnedest thing.
You were.
Well, see, he was up there, and we were past our
when you
driveway.
Yeah. You don't think of all of that at the time. No, you just run for your safety.
That's too much. I couldn't listen to that.
Oh no, not for too long.
No.
About a minute's all I could take. But I don't know if that is really a thing. Maybe on the learning channel we learned that it's sort of like a connection there. That sounded like, no, I'm just going to finish her sentence. We're going to say the exact, and they just have it cued so well. They're almost in unison.
Yeah.
Bizarre. And I guess they said Steve Irwin Way. So I think it was Australia we're talking about there. Oh my goodness. 272-9228. Hey, let's go to Robert. He's been patient. Hey, Robert, how you doing?
Hey, Joey. You might not like it. I'm enjoying the show, but I'm going back to your previous hour when you had Elizabeth Warren and Hakeem and all them on there. First of all, I just want to tell you, Joey, you laid it down. Here in Alabama, you laid down tracks that I can follow. So that's the highest praise I can give somebody. You know what I'm saying?
All right. Thank you.
There you go. And then, but what I want to say is when it comes to people dividing people and all that, when you was talking about the young Democrat at the DNC that's saying, hey, we got to get our numbers up for black men and we got to get our numbers up for educated women or uneducated women. When you talk like that, you've lost a voter because Donald Trump saying, let's make America great. We got women educated, uneducated in our country. We got black men, white men, Asian men, all kind of men. Let's make our whole country great. But the party that wants to divide is the party. They're going to spend $20 million primarying their own candidate.
Oh, yeah.
My God.
Well, I mean, you saw this in conservative circles, too. And maybe there's got to be a fight within the Democratic Party before they actually are ready to win another big election.
That's right. That's right. Look, I just feel like that's common sense. And thank you for letting me on. I don't want to be on too long, you know. But
appreciate it, Robert.
But Joey, you laid down some good tracks, brother. See you.
Thank you, sir. 272-9228. Yeah, before you got in here, Madeline, I was going over how the Democratic Party is a bit lost in the wilderness. They don't seem to have much leadership.
Mm-hmm.
And
those they have pegged as their leaders are questionable at best.
At best.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it defies a lot of their instincts. They're very much like, you must at all costs support the party. You must say even really ridiculous, stupid things to support the party. The most obvious one is Joe Biden, sharp as a tack. I didn't see any decline with old Joe. I mean, with powerful Joe, I didn't see any decline at all. And now all these folks are like, no, I was telling the truth back then. No, you weren't.
Well, they just think that if they say it, it makes it so.
Yes. There's a lot of that going on. If we just tell the lie long enough and big enough. Let's go to line 3. You're on there. Who's this?
Simpler Days.
Hey, Simpler Days. How you doing?
Pretty good. Well, compared to Nancy and Elizabeth and Chucky Boy, I think Joe was pretty sharp as a tack.
Set the bar pretty low, huh?
Said Nancy chewing on her bottom teeth. Like, I don't know what that is. Like her grinding her teeth in the middle of all these interviews.
Hey, did you see where our blue mayor? There's no question now, Joey. You don't have to ask any council members. You don't have to ask anybody whether Montgomery's a sanctuary city. The mayor, he laid it out on national.
Yeah. Yeah,
My question,
I covered it yesterday, and it's not sanctuary city, sir. We're a welcoming city.
Are we sheltering in place? We could be doing that. But
yeah.
Anyway, so he said he's not going to cooperate. He's going to protect his residents. So if this illegal alien has committed a crime somewhere in the United States, or heaven forbid in Montgomery, he's going to protect them against ICE.
Yeah, and this is where I'm baffled because, well, number one, how much does MPD's force actually help in that regard? Like, I mean, do you really need the handful of officers? I'm kidding. But you know what I mean? Like, if, say, he orders MPD not to cooperate with ICE or any of this stuff, number one, that's not just rude to the feds. I believe it's a violation of state law. And if you got all these cooperation already going on with the state and the county, it just seems like an absurd thing to even suggest and do at this point.
It's a violation of their oath of office.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know whether they still do or not. I mean, cancel culture and everything. But when I was there, Joey, when you were sworn in, you took an oath to support the Constitution of the United States.
Correct.
So how's that work now? Maybe they don't do that anymore. But I just think somebody needs to ask him if they commit a crime, say burglary, robbery, theft, or even maybe pushing him. Do they get a pass because they're here illegally?
Or you at least going to hold them and hand them over to the federal authorities, not release them into the public for the feds to go catch? Craziest thing.
We know how the catch and release program worked so well, and back when they catched and released them across the border, they came right back, and then we started catching and releasing them into the country and all of the crimes that were committed. So I think the catch and release program doesn't work. Kind of like the gun buyback.
Now, can I ask you something before you go?
Sure.
Because I've heard you level this criticism. I've seen David Thrasher put in his big emails. I think it's also just true from my talking to, say, former officers who go unnamed. What could the mayor do to actually win back, say, trust of the police and potential police? Here, the scenario for folks I don't know, or I'm laying it out. Say somebody's looking for work, police work, and they're like, well, check out Montgomery. Looks like they did up pay. It's low cost of living. They're going to do this whole like help me buy a house thing in the city. Like all this looks good, but let me call up the local fraternal order of police and let me call up the local guys. And the word is often the mayor doesn't have your back. How could the mayor prove to local folks that he actually has their back?
It's very simple. Actions speak louder than words. And two things he could do, the same thing he did when he announced and had the press conference about the amnesty program and letting all these millions of dollars go down the hole because he didn't want anybody arrested. The same thing he just did, getting on national TV and saying they're not going to arrest any of their citizens. He could do the exact opposite of that, Joey, and say, I support the Montgomery Police Department. I support them enforcing the law. I support them doing their job, and we want you to come here and work, and the mayor and the city and the council will have your back if you go do your job. And if you make a mistake, which humans do, we will back you up until it is proven otherwise that it wasn't an honest mistake. That's it, Joey.
There you go. Well, just wanted to air that out. Appreciate it, Simple Days. 272-9228. It's kind of straightforward. Yet we don't seem to be able to get a straight answer on that. Again, that's 334-272-9228. Well, I have you here, Madeline. We have another odd clip. It's not as odd as the Australian twins, like talking in unison. But it's back here, home in America, and it's Nancy Mace, you know, the Congresswoman, Nancy Mace. And she gets into it with, I believe, a transgender activist who's wearing that sundress there. Is that a sundress?
Yes. And it also appears to be like a sun hat.
Yeah, big old hat, like going to church in a down home way. Anyway, this is only a 25-second clip, but listen for the voice change.
Does your husband call you babe? I'm not married. Okay, so even better. I don't care. Okay, so I would like for you to apologize, but it is derogatory and second of all. Is tranny derogatory to you?
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Of course the fucking is.
Whoa.
Yeah, tranny. If that's derogatory,
Is that real?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Yeah, no, Nancy Mace called some protester in the crowd babe at the town hall, and that's why that person came up and said, does your husband call you babe? And I'm like, well, I'm not married.
Yeah.
And she's like, is tranny derogatory? And yeah, tranny. Yeah, see, that is very good.
I know. It sounded like somebody with a voice changer.
Wow. Nancy Mace has no fear in that regard. Like, she's been going off on folks. I don't know if I want my member of Congress constantly getting into verbal fights with members of the local community, but she seems like a magnet for the crazies because of the stand she's taken on so many of these issues.
Well, I guess her thoughts are if they can say what they want to say, she can say what she wants to say.
It reminds me of that SNL skit where it's like Chris Farley and David Spade and Adam Sandler at the mall. They're all girls. And Farley goes, hey, man, I'm hungry. Like, don't take my fries. Like, that was the craziest voice shift I've seen in ages. I'm going to be hesitant to play it again because she drops an F-bomb. Yes, it's effing derogatory. Ma'am.
It goes to show you just because you put on a dress and a women's hat does not make you a woman.
No, it doesn't. Like, you might even fool a bunch of folks who don't even look your way. You're like, whatever, wearing a dress and a hat. But as soon as you get into the politics of it, it's like the testosterone comes out.
It sounds like when Eddie does his brother.
Yeah, it does. Oh, God. What a crazy time we live in. And it's that sort of thing that it's just like, it's nuts. Like, it's crazy it's one thing to present yourself a certain way and like live and let live. Yeah, we agree. You're an adult. I guess you can do what you want. But to essentially say, no, I literally am the opposite sex now that I've transitioned in certain ways, it's just bonkers. It's literally not true.
Well, it's not enough for them to believe it. They want everybody else to believe it too.
Yes. And that's the, adds to the crazy.
That's right.
Crazy indeed. I got to hit a break. First, as part of the program, brought to you by James Cole and Cole Plumbing. And they're at Cole Plumbing. They're ready to help you out with any and all of your plumbing needs. Could be everyday issues like low water pressure. That's no fun when you're trying to take a shower. It's just a slow little drip. You're like, it's not even doing enough to get any of the dirt off. What am I going to? Oh, I could call Cole Plumbing. Or maybe you have a clogged drain. Or it could be it's time to upgrade to, say, a new garbage disposal or tankless water heater system. Maybe you want nicer things, new accessories, a taller toilet, other things in the bathroom area. They can help you with all of that. Or it could be you have a major problem, gas line leak, tree root invasion, maybe a major water leak inside or outside your home. Cole Plumbing has the technology where they can get in there, solve that issue without creating a big mess, not having to tear out a bunch of drywall or dig up a huge hole in your yard. No, they can do it with precision and expertise and get the job done. You can always go to coleplumbing.com, make an appointment there at coleplumbing.com, or just go ahead and save their number, 279-8919. That's 279-8919. And just remember, folks, when you have trouble with your bowl, call on Cole. We'll be right back.
He may not know whether he's coming or going, but whether you're going to work or coming home, Greg Budell is there. Mornings, 6 till 9, and afternoons, 3 till 6. Only on News Talk 93.1 FM, WACV.
What's your biggest investment? More than likely, it's your home. So treat it that way when you hire a painting contractor. With PBS Painting, there are no gimmicks, no $99 specials. Just quality painting and someone who treats your home with the same respect that you do. At PBS Painting, we have been painting for years and look forward to many more years to come. With PBS Painting, the job gets prepped properly, whether it's cleaning, scraping, or priming. We always use quality products, which is a must for a quality paint job. So if you're looking for a painter that doesn't need upfront money and is on the job at all times, then please give me a call. Scott Bowers and PBS Painting, 294-5122. That's PBS Painting, 294-5122. Look at some of our work on Facebook at PBS Painting Montgomery.
Oh no, stomach issues again?
Stomach issues? Who are you? Your pancreas. I could be the real reason for your diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose oily stools.
I thought it was my stomach.
People often do, but any of these symptoms could mean having a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and speak with your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
Are you tired of the mainstream media's biased reporting? Do you want to stay informed on the news that really matters to you? Look no further than 1819 News. At 1819 News, we bring you the latest in Alabama news, politics, sports, culture, and more. We've assembled a team of journalists with Alabama values dedicated to the truth and the truth alone. Visit us at 1819news.com today. That's 1819news.com. Subscribe to our newsletter. Honest News, Alabama Values. This hour of news and views is brought to you by our good friends at Alabama Home Mortgage. Alabama Home Mortgage, 567-4223. Visit them on the web at myalabamahomemortgage.com. NMLS number 1586368, an equal housing lender.
The River Region's first and only news talk station on FM. Live, local talk. News Talk 93.1 FM, WACV.
Joey Clark.
Welcome back. This part of the program brought to you by Josh and Leslie Ryder there at Dillon Rings. You know them, don't you, Matt?
I do. I love Josh and Leslie.
They're so awesome. Josh and Leslie Ryder, of course, they've been putting together Dillon Rings for years now. And they're a great duo, great husband and wife. You know, Leslie does a lot of the inventory. Like helps put together that selection, and it's amazing. It's across the board, whether it's high-end pieces that are hard to find or that everyday jewelry. It still looks beautiful, but it's not going to break the bank or say break your heart if you're wearing some jewelry down at the beach or something, or out on the town and you have a lot of fun, so you might break something or whatever. Yeah, it's like, well,
and if you do break it, Josh is the best man to fix it.
he can repair pretty much anything.
Oh, and he's repaired a good bit for me.
Nice.
Yes.
And he can also, for gentlemen, do watch repairs and battery replacements for watches. I'm trying to think everything else they do. Oh, of course, the custom design work.
And the spa treatments.
Oh, yeah. So say you have a piece of jewelry that you wear all the time, and it looks like you wear it all the time.
That's right.
Because you love it. Well, what if it could shine and shimmer like it's brand new again? They can do that with that spa treatment. And I know tis the season for folks getting into the mortgage market. Tis the season for engagements, though, right now.
That's true.
I think he has custom designed 3 or 4 engagement rings at this point.
Including his daughters, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's pretty recent.
Pretty cool.
Yeah.
And so, folks, if you're looking for a across-the-board, full-service jewelry shop, you got to get by Dylan Rings. It's 119 Brown Springs Road right here in Montgomery, just off of Atlanta Highway, sort of like you're going into the back-end entrance to AUM. It's really nestled up where the old fun zone used to be. That's how I remember it. Oh, I miss working there some days. Yeah, this job's better. Anyway, y'all check out Dylan Rings and be sure to tell Josh and Leslie that Joey and Madeline, those folks on the radio, sent you. Now, I'm looking at an ESPN story here.
Okay.
It says NCAA proposes new rule to allow direct payments to players.
I thought that was already happening.
Yeah, I thought so too. That's why it caught my attention. I'm like, huh? But the NCAA Division I Board of Directors on Monday proposed deleting 153 longstanding rules from its handbook, a move that would allow schools to share financial benefits directly with players, and expected step towards a new era of amateurism in college athletics, but one that remains contingent upon the approval of the House settlement. NCAA board members met for about 4 hours on Monday and emerged with 9 major proposed legislative changes, including permission for schools to provide direct financial payments to players, including for use of their NIL. Fascinating. So, okay, yeah, NIL exists.
Right.
And so they're getting paid direct for name, image, and likeness. And I'd imagine, say, the school sells a lot of jerseys, say in football, that have that guy's number and maybe name on it. So it's NIL money coming directly from the school. But it also, just from reading a few sentences here, sounds like, yeah, we'll also just pay you direct for this, that, or the other if you come to our school. Like it's on top of a scholarship and on top of a stipend and a per diem or whatnot.
They're just going to continue to ruin college athletics.
Yeah. So that's your instinct that this is not good.
We're already seeing it with the portal and everything else.
Yeah.
I mean, there is no loyalty anymore. People don't consider it a stepping stone to professional athletics. Now they come entitled and think that, hey, I've got my hand out. It's not enough for me to, be able to put the jersey on and play for my dream school. Their dream school is whoever's going to pay them the most.
Right. And then you got to wonder, how do you manage a 18-year-old kid, 19-year-old kid who's making more money than you?
Right.
Like if you're an assistant coach and you're supposed to be their boss and their almost father figure in a way, at least one of them. Yeah. How do you manage kids like that when they, in the back of their mind, go, I can go get a jump in the portal, go get a better deal. You can't tell me nothing.
Right.
Yeah. It's a little bad. And then also think about they already give this speech when people make it, say, to the NFL or the NBA and whatnot. But an 18-year-old kid, like, just say it's like, I got an NIL deal and I'm making $200,000 now off NIL. Me making $200,000 at 18 years old? Oh no, that would have been probably a train wreck.
Yeah. Something to hang yourself with for sure.
Yeah. And they're already having a lot of fun. You're already the big man on campus, especially college football and basketball in this state at this point. You add a bunch of money as fuel to that fire. Who knows what might be going on? Yeah, it just does seem like we're moving away from, you made a great point about it should be the dream school. It should be about the prestige of the college itself and the larger community there.
And the opportunity
Yes.
to earn paid athletic position in the professional leagues.
And I'm just looking at more and more here. It says the new NIL clearinghouse and enforcement arm that aims to coexist with expected settlement terms was also included, along with rules, quote, intended to bring clarity and stability to the NIL environment for all Division I schools. To prevent schools from trying to circumvent the $20.5 million cap, the NCAA has proposed rules to help add stability and accountability. All players will be required to disclose their NIL agreements, if they are greater or equal to $600. Agreements between the player and a third party outside of the school will be reviewed. So it looks like they're adding all sorts of little things to this, but I don't think it changes the underlying dynamic. I'm torn on this because there are kids who perform great on the field, on the court. Then people sell boatloads of things off their name, image, and likeness and make ridiculous amounts of money, and the kid never sees a dime of it. Like, think of how big a star they made Caitlin Clark, even before she won any championship. Like, so Caitlin Clark can't make any money, even though her name and her voice, and it's her that's selling all these tickets. So I get the argument in that regard, but can't we maybe like close down the portal a little bit, or like make these contracts a little more ironclad where if you make a commitment, you've made a commitment?
Yeah, I think otherwise there is no distinction between college athletics and professional athletics. If the only difference is you were being paid.
Right.
Well, now if you're being paid at the college level, what incentive is there to go on to the professional level other than like, oh, I've, played my 4 or 5 years, now my time's up, right?
Right.
But I mean, if you can make millions of dollars while you're in college.
Well, it doesn't hurt. And also you can hear the argument of like, I can make millions of dollars, especially if you play football. You don't always have the longest career. So you're a running back. Mm-hmm. You ran 2,000 yards, 2,500 yards last year. It's almost a curse. If you have that many carries and that much yardage, you're probably going to get injured pretty soon. Maybe you get lucky and you have a few years in the league. Mm-hmm. But there's and maybe this is just the schools and the NCAA already made this bed years ago. When this became such a big business with all the TV rights and all the merchandise, they already made the bed in the sense of we just had the players cut out, but we're still making billions of dollars doing this. So I don't know how you put this genie back in the bottle at this point. I don't know. And I'm still going to watch Auburn football Saturday.
Sure.
So,
and I guess because we've all put the focus on football and they know that's where the money's at, then they're following the money just like we all do, right?
All right. Let's go to line 1. You're on there. Who's this?
Hey, when it comes to that, they ought to draft straight out of high school if they're going to pay money. And if they're not going to pay money, you can go to college and play. But you can't do both, and that's how you solve the situation. Because there are some athletes that are absolute stars. And if you're going to sling money at them, don't sling it and then burn it down through college where you don't have to get a degree or what have you. But that's getting too deep because there's way many athletes that make good grades and all that sort of thing. But this whole rigmarole, you're right. If you're the athlete, you deserve some of that money. If you're, academically, you deserve to go that route or what have you. But it's the blending and the boosters and all the other thing. And if somebody wants to boost somebody $20 million and he's 18 years old, senior high school, do it.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? But that recipient has to make a decision. Am I going to college or not?
Well, I appreciate it, Robert. And it says players will still be allowed to hire agents for NIL purposes, but the NCAA will still use certain eligibility rules that have been used to distinguish Division I athletics from professional sports, according to a document that summarizes these legislative changes the board just made. For the athletes to receive these benefits, the NCAA will require them to be enrolled full-time, meet Division I progress toward degree requirements. I'm sure those are stringent. And earn the benefits during their 5-year eligibility period. And again, these are now the schools can start giving direct financial benefits. It seems to be the major new change here. New rules to allow direct payments to players.
Oh, these agents are loving it because they get a percentage of all of it.
Exactly right. Oh, what a mess. And honestly, I don't watch ESPN much anymore, if at all, and I stopped years ago because I used to check out sports to just be sports. And it's become like, why am I watching a political debate right now?
Yeah.
This is what I do all day, every day. I just want to see the highlights, man.
Politics with a ball.
Yeah. And it just became more, and sometimes just explicitly about politics. Like the more you started, especially during the COVID era and all that, it just became explicit.
What's
Now,
the ESPN commentator who says he's going to run for president?
Oh, Stephen A. Smith. Yeah.
Yes.
We'll see.
Right.
Stephen A. is like one of the best, one of the best communicators, broadcasters out there right now, no doubt. But running for president's a heck of a commitment and an undertaking. Like, I think Trump, for better or for worse, was a master of persuasion and marketing. You saw how difficult it was for him to get there. Usually it requires this whole team of people with hundreds of millions of dollars to get somebody there. You know, being a really effective communicator can get you quite far, but all the infrastructure and like actually having to build a campaign, I don't know if Stephen A. is quite ready for that, unless he can plug into some machine that already exists, which kind of defeats the point of Stephen A. running, given the reason people like him is he calls them like he sees it. He doesn't seem to be playing for a party or for a team. He seems to be playing on, here's what I, Stephen A., actually think. But maybe I'm wrong. We're going to see possibly the Trump effect come from a more Democratic angle, that you're going to see folks that you normally go, oh, they'll never win the presidency. They're not serious. But more people from entertainment, more rich billionaires that can self-finance. I think you're going to see a lot more of that in the years to come.
Probably so.
272-9228 if you want to get in on the conversation. Again, that's 334-272-9228. This part of the program brought to you by Pest Pro Services. And they're at Pest Pro, Ashley and that fantastic team are ready to help you with any and all of your pest control needs. You can get on a monthly plan where you have that basic pest control protection year around. And, you know, they're going to do the basically spraying inside, outside the home. And maybe you catch something. Like I always use the example, you go to the back shed and you discover a wasp nest that is way too big and unruly for you to deal with. You can call Pest Pro. Maybe you see you left some food out. You see a bunch of ants in the kitchen. You're like, oh no, I got the in-laws coming over. I can't. Pest Pro's got your back. Of course, they can do yearly termite protection and inspection. That should be done on a regular basis before you have a very expensive problem if those termites actually start eating into your property and your home. And then right now, it should be top of mind. Mosquito season is upon us. I'm already starting to see some of the big ones.
Oh, yeah.
Like
I can't
sneak
go
into the
outside
garage.
without, them carrying me off.
Oh my goodness. And I know folks try let's spray yourself or you use the candles or something. Those things don't work. They've never worked.
Not the same.
Like you spray yourself. And so why not directly treat your yard? Why don't hit the problem at its root? And that's exactly what Pest Pro Services will do with those nasty, nasty mosquitoes. And it's not like they show up like once or twice. No, 8 times a year at the high point of mosquito season, they are going to be showing up and treating your property so you don't have to deal with them. And you can actually enjoy your backyard or front porch, wherever you like to hang out and enjoy the outdoors. So y'all check them out today. You can always go and learn more at ppsriverregion.com or just search for Pest Pro Services on the Book of Faces. Very active Facebook page there. Always giving back to the community in great ways. Or you can always call them direct at 265-9990. That's 265-9990. When you want to know, call the pro. Pest Pro Services. And be sure to tell Ashley and that great team that Joey, the fellow on the radio, sent you.
Want to carry News Talk in your pocket? Download the News Talk 93.1 app from the App Store. Available on iPhone and Android. Never miss a moment. Download now.
What does it mean for a nation to be successful? I'm Stephanie Bryan, Tribal Chair and CEO of the Porch Creek Indians. We believe a successful nation gives back. As we've built economic opportunity and prosperity, the Porch Creek Indians have been able to give back to our neighbors in Alabama and beyond. More than $37 million since 2021 alone. From education and health care to tornado relief, learn more about our charitable giving at porchcreekindians.org.
When you're hiring, have you ever felt like you're missing out on meeting truly great candidates for your roles? It seems impossible to find them. They have to be out there somewhere, right? Well, they're not hard to find when you know where to go. And that place is ZipRecruiter. And right now, You can try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day. And because these people are actively looking for jobs just like yours, it's easy to find the right person right away. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. But if you're not using ZipRecruiter, you're missing out. So see what it's like when the impossible is easy. When you go to ZipRecruiter.com/radio right now to try ZipRecruiter for free. Once again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio. Never miss out on great candidates with ZipRecruiter.
This hour of news and views is brought to you by our good friends at Alabama Home Mortgage. Alabama Home Mortgage, 567-4223. Visit them on the web at myalabamahomemortgage.com. NMLS number 1586368. An equal housing lender.
Rich Thomas Weather is brought to you by MPM Feed and Seed. It's time to get those gardens ready. From seeds to plants to fertilizer, MPM has what you need. Shop MPM Feed and Seed in Prattville, 1313 Highway 31 North. Open Monday through Friday, 8 to 5, Saturdays, 8 to 1.
Rich Thomas Weather.
Well, hi, everybody. We could actually use a little rain. And if you have our weather app, you'll be able to track a few storms here and there scattered about on radar and future radar. It will continue very warm today with a high temperature up to about 84. Mild tonight, overnight low temperature 63. Tomorrow, maybe some widely scattered showers and storms possible. Still warm, high 86. I think we'll be in the upper 80s Thursday and maybe teasing 90 degrees by Friday and Saturday. From the Blue Water Weather Center, this is Rich Thomas.
Budget Floors and More is your low price leader for everything you need for flooring and DIY flooring installation supplies. For the best prices on luxury vinyl plank, carpet, ceramic tile, flooring installation supplies, and more, shop Budget Floors and More, Hunter Lane across from Del Rey to Publix.
For reliable electrical services in Central Alabama, trust the experts at Crosby Electric. Crosby's licensed and insured electricians are ready to tackle any project for your home. From troubleshooting, repairs, to installing new lighting and preventive maintenance. And Crosby understands the need for quality service for small business. Crosby is big enough for the largest job, yet small enough to bring real value. Visit CrosbyElectric.com to schedule your service. Crosby, powering Central Alabama with excellence.
Join Jones Drugs on Saturday, April 26, 10 to 2, as they partner with the police department for the National DEA Drug Take Back event. Come by the parking lot of the Prattville, Millbrook, Montgomery, or Phoenix City locations and bring your unwanted, unneeded, or expired prescriptions. That's Saturday, April 26, 10 to 2.
This hour of news and views is brought to you by our good friends at Alabama Home Mortgage. Alabama Home Mortgage, 567-4223. Visit them on the web at myalabamahomemortgage.com. NMLS number 1586368. An equal housing lender.
Live local talk. The River Region's most trusted voice for news and opinion. News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
Joey Clark.
Welcome back to News and Views in the afternoon. Now, I just found something from Caroline Leavitt's press conference at the White House, something I've been waiting on for a little while now. This big move, it's, I guess, called Schedule F, but here, I'll let the press secretary lay it out.
The president put out a statement about it. The Office of Personnel Management reclassified workers. They're now called scheduled policy/career. And all the president is trying to do is ensure that federal workers are being held accountable for corrupt behavior. If they are engaging in corruption as a government worker, they should no longer have their job. I think that's pretty common sense. He also believes that bureaucrats should be acting in accordance to the will of the American public, who duly elected this president. Not just this president, but all future presidents. If you work for the government, you should be adhering to the will of the American public and advancing the administration's goals and interests. And if you are not doing that, then you should go find another job whose interests you align with. So as for specific firings, I would defer you to the specific agencies, but the president in this move and Office of Personnel Management, it will make it easier to get rid of rogue bureaucrats who are engaging in corruption.
Beautiful. I love it. I absolutely love it. What do you think of Caroline Leavitt?
Oh, I think she's awesome.
Yeah?
Yes. Very eloquently spoken, doesn't take any, slack from anybody. Very pointed with all of her answers.
Well, and as much as she has her own voice and say style, there's moments where I'm like, she sounds like Trump. Like she's still the voice of Trump.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like it's sometimes it's common terms or just the presentation in general. It's like, yep, that's Trump energy all day, every day. But she does it in her own way.
That's right.
I think, she's very well put together, very pretty. And I think it's disarming. And then she'll all of a sudden hit you with a kick in the ribs. You're like, nobody's fooled. Though I've noticed this happens to all of them in this job, that job in particular, press secretary. You start to see the wear and tear of sleepless nights.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know how much sleep she's operating off of, but you can start to see it in the eyes of all these people. Let's start looking closely at all these advisors, folks. Yeah, they aren't sleeping much. They're going all the time.
Trump's always picked very strong women to serve as his press secretaries, from Huckabee Sanders to Kayleigh McEnany, now her. I mean, they've all been, I think, great secretaries for him.
So we have an update here when it comes to trade from the press secretary. Let's listen into that.
Spoke to our entire trade team this morning. There is a lot of progress being made. We now have 18 proposals on paper that have been brought to the trade team. Again, these are proposals on paper that countries have proposed to the Trump administration and to our government. You have Secretary Bessent, Secretary Lutnick, Ambassador Greer, NEC Director Hassett, and Peter Navarro, the entire trade team, meeting with 34 countries this week alone. We are moving at Trump speed to ensure these deals are made on behalf of the American worker and the American people. And just yesterday, it seemed to get a little bit lost in the news, and I think it's a disservice to the American public that it did. The vice president announced terms of reference for a trade deal with India.
What does that mean? I heard the VP say that, and it sounded good, but I'm like, what is that? Terms of, Madeline, we have settled terms of reference for potential trade deal with India. What does that mean?
Your guess is as good as mine.
Yeah, right.
It sounds good.
Right. Is this like we've pretty much got all the principles down, we just need to get to the table and sign? Or is it more like we've agreed to the basic outlines, now we need to get into the details of these broad principles? I don't know what that, maybe she's going to say what that means.
That is a big deal. We know when we look at the numbers, the monetary trade barriers and the non-monetary trade barriers from India, they have been ripping off the United States and American workers for a very long time. So the fact that the vice president with Prime Minister Modi on that trip in India announced these terms of reference, which is essentially a framework to move the ball forward to sign a good trade deal between our two nations, is great progress. And it speaks to the work ethic and the real labor that's being put into this effort by the president's trade.
There you go. She defined it.
Framework.
Yeah. AI says that terms of reference define the purpose, scope, and structure of a project or endeavor.
Okay. No, that's great. No, India being on board to actually have a huge new, say, trade agreement where we're having much more flow of trade, I think is a fantastic thing. Not just economically, but for geopolitical reasons.
Yes. And the Prime Minister of India is the one that seems to be very pro-Trump, that says he's ready to make India great again, too.
Yeah.
You remember that? Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Modi and Trump have a very good, let's say, relationship. And I like the idea of any place on this earth, even if we think they are a little screwy at times, where they speak the Kings, where they speak English, we should probably have a good, strong relationship with them. Like, you don't even have a true language barrier. They should definitely be more allied with us than, say, the Chinese.
Sure.
And I'd imagine you don't have to make much of an argument to India or Australia or New Zealand or a lot of these places very close to China on that. The UK, though, I don't know what's going on with those folks. The UK keeps coming out with screwy stuff, and don't even get me started on Canada. Don't get me started on those guys.
They're all trying to out-woke the United States.
I know. Well, I think like Canada was the future that so many folks in the Democratic Party wanted, where you have more restrictions on speech. You have these
and guns.
Well, like the push here, it was being pushed by, say, corporate interests, but also like the mayor and folks, where you have the human rights boards.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like
you have a social credit score.
You're like you at the hotel. You were transphobic at the hotel, and now we're calling you in front of the board because you were being discriminatory for some reason. And it's like, can't you already sue people?
Right.
For all sorts of reasons. And I'm glad we haven't gone in that direction. I'm glad there's so many folks pushing back. It's absolutely beautiful to see that we're not going the same way as most of the rest of the West. And in fact, might be able to lead the way in a direction that actually saves something known as Western civilization. But just kind of cleaning up here, this all just came out in the last hour. Of course, the knives are out for Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth.
Why does everybody hate Pete?
I don't know. There's something about the guy that just don't. I think it's because he's actually knocking heads together at the Pentagon. And I'll put it this way: I think Pete Hegseth is actually more loyal to President Trump than he is to the Pentagon in their process.
100%.
Most of the time, the person that ends up there with that top job at the Pentagon, at DOD, is a creature of the system. Hegseth, of course, served honorably, but at a lower level.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he is much more loyal to Trump and Trump's vision than he is of all the concerns that might exist within not just the Pentagon, but the national security state. That's I think, the broad reason the knives
They
are
don't
out.
like that they can't control him.
Yes, exactly right.
what it
Or
all
he won't
boils
play
down to.
ball with the scheme they want.
Sure.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
But let's listen into Caroline Levitt addressing that.
On Fox News that the entire Pentagon is working against Secretary Hegseth. But the people who were fired were Hegseth's own guys. So how do you square that? And what do you say to concerns that that's bad management?
They were Pentagon employees who leaked against their boss to news agencies in this room. And it's been clear since day one from this administration that we are not going to tolerate individuals who leak to the mainstream media, particularly when it comes to sensitive information. And the Secretary of Defense is doing a tremendous job, and he is bringing monumental change to the Pentagon. And there's a lot of people in the city who reject monumental change. And I think, frankly, that's why we've seen a smear campaign against the Secretary of Defense since the moment that President Trump announced his nomination before the United States Senate. Let me reiterate, the president stands strongly behind Secretary Hegseth in the change that he is bringing to the Pentagon, and the results that he's achieved thus far speak for themselves.
Well, we shall see. See, I'm in this mood. I was saying it yesterday. It's like, y'all need to move faster. Go faster. Like, I want more speed.
Well, they were running as fast as they could, and then
more.
I know.
But
It's a marathon, though, right?
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
It's just, it's how I feel.
Yeah. Well, because we got so accustomed to the sprint.
Yeah, I know, and it's exhilarating. I want more sprint. I want more sprinting. Anyway, I got the final hour coming up. Y'all stay tuned.
Broadcasting from the Riverside Chevrolet Master Control Center, this is WACV Cusana, News Talk 93.1 FM. When it's Chevy, it's Riverside.
With SRN News, I'm John Scott. Indian police say gunmen have killed at least 20 tourists at a resort in Indian-controlled Kashmir. Two senior police officers say at least 4 gunmen, whom they described as militants, fired at dozens of tourists from close range. U.S. airstrikes continue to target Yemen's capital. America has intensified the campaign of strikes targeting the Houthi rebels. The second murder trial of Karen Reed has begun, with prosecutors and defense lawyers delivering opening statements in which they address theories about how her Boston police officer boyfriend ended up dead in 2022. That retrial is in Dedham, Massachusetts. On Wall Street, stocks have been sharply higher. The Dow is up 883 points. This is SRN News.
Just hearing the word IRS can make people break out in a cold sweat. No one wants to deal with the IRS, and now you don't have to. The good news is Legal Tax Defense has been successfully negotiating with the IRS for more than 15 years. It doesn't matter how much you owe, whether it's $5,000 or $5 million. You deserve the best in the business on your side, and that is Legal Tax Defense. Even if you're working with someone else and just want a second opinion, there is no cost or obligation to call. They can prevent levies, liens, wage garnishments, even file back tax returns. And the best news about Legal Tax Defense is they won't take your case unless they know they will reduce or eliminate your tax debt. Call Legal Tax Defense right now for a free, no-risk consultation. 800-292-7875. 800-292-7875. You have nothing to lose, but everything to gain. 800-292-7875.
Weather, a service of H&H Carpets, where right now, get a load of this, listen close, you got a house full of carpet
for $19.95 installed. Unbelievable. They're located at 6450 Atlanta Highway, just across from Walmart.
Rich Thomas weather.
Well, hi, everybody. We could actually use a little rain. And if you have our weather app, you'll be able to track a few storms here and there scattered about on radar and future radar. It will continue very warm today with a high temperature up to about 84. Mild tonight, overnight low temperature 63. Tomorrow, maybe some widely scattered showers and storms possible. Still warm, high 86. I think we'll be in the upper 80s Thursday and maybe teasing 90 degrees by Friday and Saturday. From the Blue Water Weather Center, this is Rich Thomas.
ASE's 25 and 25 has you covered. For just $25 in closing costs, you can tap into your home's equity. No hidden fees, no headaches, just extra cash. Visit your local ASE Credit Union branch today. Federally insured by NCUA, NMLS 420259. Terms apply.
ASE Credit Union. Your life, your cause, your ASE.
1819 News.
State Senator Dan Roberts is talking about a bill that was recently put before the state legislature regarding the structure of the Birmingham Waterworks Board. Roberts told 1819 News that the bill is designed to prevent an impending water crisis that would be similar to the one in Jackson, Mississippi back in 2022. Roberts says the evidence is pointing to the fact that the Waterworks Board is a failing organization and also has water rates that are among the highest in the Southeast, therefore impeding economic development in the area. The bill is being sponsored by all of the Jefferson County state delegates and would reduce the number of board members from 9 to 5, with the county commissions for Jefferson, Blount, and Shelby appointing one board member each, and the other two appointed by the Birmingham mayor and lieutenant governor. I'll be back with more Alabama stories after this.
Did you know that 70% of people experience a potentially traumatic event in their lifetime, and that 6 out of every 100 adults face PTSD every day? Help us bring hope to these survivors by signing up for your Alabama Distinctive PTSD Awareness License Plate today. The great thing is you can sign up no matter when your current plate renews, and the first year is complimentary. All you need is your VIN number on hand. Drive awareness, drive hope, and customize your plate today at atease.org.
A trial started this past Monday for a former employee with the Huntsville City Schools. Dwayne Yarbrough is accused of having sex with a student at the high school. Yarbrough was working at Lee High School starting in 2016 until 2022. Crime Stoppers is now offering a reward to find a rape suspect. The incident occurred on April 5th at Winton Blunt Park in Montgomery. The suspect is described as a black male about 5'5" and of slim build. Crime Stoppers is offering $5,000 for information that leads to that suspect's arrest. And comedian Cheryl Underwood will be performing at the Dothan Opera House this coming November 16th. Tickets go on sale on the Opera House website this coming Wednesday. I'm Andrea Tice.
For more news affecting Alabamians, go to 1819news.com. And while you're there, subscribe to the daily newsletter.
This hour of news and views is brought to you by our good friends at Cole Plumbing, 279-8919. Cole Plumbing is number one in the number two business. You don't have to dig a hole. They have proprietary pipelining technology. Ask them about their tankless water heaters. Remember, when you have trouble with your bowl, call on Cole.
Alabama weather will never fail to surprise you. Our lawns hardly get a chance to have any downtime, and as usual, it's already time to start getting ready for spring. This year, save the hard work and aggravation and call Alabama Lawns, the River Region's leader in weed control and fertilization services. What makes Alabama Lawns the River Region's best? It's the people. They have the experience, education, and commitment to customer satisfaction. Ask your neighbors. Alabama Lawns has been the Montgomery Advertiser's Reader's Choice Award winner 13 years in a row. The Alabama Lawn staff is made up of long-term employees and agronomy graduates, and the staff at Alabama Lawns attend annual continuing education classes. It pays to have someone that knows southern grass types and how to keep them green and flourishing. Call Alabama Lawns today at 272-7171 and let them show you real value in a lawn maintenance service. Alabama Lawns, the company with black trucks and green lawns. 272-7171.
Listen up, Gen Xers. Elizabeth Banks here. The recommended age for pneumococcal pneumonia vaccination has been lowered to 50 and older, even if you're healthy. It's up to us to lead the way. We've done this before. Music videos, fanny packs, even the World Wide Web. So let's do it again and get vaccinated. We're at over 6 times greater risk for pneumococcal pneumonia compared to adults under 50. Gen X, this is our shot. Visit vaxassist.com to schedule. Sponsored by Pfizer.
The views and opinions of the following program are solely those of the host and other contributors. These do not necessarily represent those of Liberty Acquisitions 825, Blue Water Broadcasting, its management, staff, or any advertisers. It's time for Montgomery's conversational radio show. It's news and views on News Talk 93.1 FM. To join the conversation, call 272-9228.
Welcome back to the program. Final hour here. Madeline Cannon hanging out. I appreciate it.
Having a fun time.
Yeah. And a lot more to get to. I was just checking out 1819news.com. They always update at about 2 o'clock in the afternoon, folks. Once in a lifetime occasion, Alabama Republicans thrilled, quote unquote, thrilled, Trump is giving commencement at the University of Alabama. Now,
Roll Tide.
do you remember who your commencement speaker was?
No, I don't remember who my commencement speaker was for undergrad or law school.
Really? Just don't remember at all. They weren't
No.
they didn't stick at all.
Evidently not.
I said this earlier, but when I graduated from Auburn, and I was the type of like, I don't really want to, I'll just get my degree. I don't need to really, and they're like, family said, no, you're walking.
Oh, you did? Okay. Yeah.
I'm like, okay. That year they had black graduation gowns and caps, like dark black. And they decided to do it on the field in Jordan-Hare.
Oh, ours was the same. It was black, and we were on the green at Huntington outside. Hot, hot, hot.
It literally, some people fell out, like heat stroke and stuff. It was that hot that day in Auburn. And, I didn't do the thing where, you write a fake name on the back for the announcer, be like, now walking Turd Ferguson. It's like, no, I said Joey Clark. Walked and got the degree. But our commencement speaker was, I believe, the first press secretary for the Obama White House, Auburn's own Robert Gibbs.
Oh, wow.
And I'm just sitting there listening to this guy. Like, really? Robert Gibbs?
Yeah, of all people.
That's the best we can do here?
I'm sitting here racking my brain as you're talking, and I can't
You can't remember?
No.
Well, you wouldn't forget if Trump gave it.
No, I certainly would not.
Now, that's a heck of a thing. And I can't imagine security in Tuscaloosa, that sort of thing. Though, when Trump showed up in Montgomery to that big GOP dinner, wasn't that crazy to get in.
Yeah.
But, well, good for the University of Alabama and all the students graduating very, very soon.
Although online, they're already taking heed. There's a bunch of them that say they're not going to participate.
Oh, okay. Because, Trump's Hitler or something.
Yeah, I'm sure. Something to that effect.
Yeah. Oh, and this is the problem with picking political people. Maybe we get Adam Sandler to be a commencement speaker or somebody like that. Somebody who makes people laugh for a living. Now, we've been wondering what's the latest because there's all these hemp bills being pushed through the Alabama legislature.
Okay.
Folks are wondering, well, what's going on with the medical cannabis commission? Like that was passed all those years ago. Like we get medical marijuana in particular forms in the state. Well, here's the latest. Caleb Taylor at 1819 News wrote this up. Montgomery County Circuit Judge James Anderson keeps medical cannabis program on hold. He continued to block the Alabama Medical Cannabis Commission from issuing cannabis business licenses in an order released on Monday. In a unanimous decision in March, the Alabama Court of Civil Appeals said the temporary restraining order that stalled the implementation of the state's medical cannabis law for 14 months should be vacated because the circuit court lacks subject matter jurisdiction. Alabama legalized cannabis for medical purposes in 2021.
I caught it.
Yeah.
Purposes.
But the program has not gotten fully off the ground yet. Despite the appeals court ruling, Anderson said in an order on Monday that he was permanently prohibiting the Alabama Medical Cannabis Commission from taking any action in furtherance of the December 12, 2023 awards and denials of medical cannabis licenses in the integrated facility category. By law, the commission is allowed to award 5 integrated facility licenses, which will enable a business to cultivate, process, dispense, transport, and sell medical cannabis. And this is the most competitive license category. Anderson wrote in his order that an emergency rule passed by the commission in October 2023 was void. However efficacious medical cannabis is, or however desirable the availability of medical cannabis might be as an alternative to other treatments, as the legislature has found, any need for medical cannabis is not a public health quote-unquote emergency justifying the commission's bypassing of the normal rulemaking process, Anderson said in an order on Monday. Warren Cobb, general counsel with Sustainable Alabama, a company awarded an integrated facility license last year, told 1819 News on Monday that they would appeal Anderson's order. Judge Anderson's opinion purports to invalidate a rule his court essentially created through the mediation process in October 2023. The emergency rule was created to allow the plaintiffs to have the presentations they sought and now decry as illegal. We relied upon this rule, as did every other party, without objection. It was only after the plaintiffs lost did they attempt to attack this rule. And apparently after publication in 1819 News, a spokesperson for the Alabama Medical Cannabis Commission told 1819 News on Tuesday, today, the circuit court entered injunctions that have completely stalled the commission's licensing process for the past 16 months. Now that the appellate court has thrown out those injunctions, the circuit court, in a ruling that could have been made at any point during the 16-month stall, has substituted its judgment for that of the commission and declared invalid a patient-driven commission rule that was adopted 18 months ago. Make no mistake, powerful interests in this state have made clear that this fight will never be about what's best for Alabama patients who may benefit from medical cannabis, the spokesperson went on to say. In reality, today, at least 3 licensed medical cannabis cultivators are growing cannabis in Alabama. The commission, still focused on patient needs, will continue to work tirelessly to see that at least one dispensary license is issued as soon as possible. Will Somerville, an attorney for Alabama Always, on Tuesday called the order a positive development. This is a very positive development. Like the recent ruling by the Court of Civil Appeals, this decision makes clear the AMCC must follow the Administrative Procedure Act when awarding licenses. Does anybody have a big old doobie I could smoke right now? After reading all that, I just want to get high of illegal pot. Like right now. I know it's not cool. Some think it's immoral. It's illegal, man. But after reading this gobbledygook, somebody fire something up for me. Please.
You don't have to go far. Just hit Carmichael Road or Atlanta Highway and you'll get secondhand high.
Yeah, is it springtime or is it just Montgomery?
Yeah,
Right.
I don't know what it is, but it's awful.
Oh my God, man. Like, this is what a mess this is.
Yeah.
Definitely. Let's go to line 3. You're on there. Who's this?
It's Charles the First.
Hey, Charles.
Hey, Joey. Hey, Madeline.
Hello.
Yeah, you got me fired up there. The whole bureaucracy thing that you were talking about with the press secretary, that should be in effect. We should have something like that to take care of our legislature, who should have looked at the other states, Joey, and saw, like some of them did, that you prevented in your legislation that created this judicial stuff from ever happening to begin with.
Real quick, Charles, not to interrupt you, but somebody just texted me saying, hey, you can only get tincture, gummies, or suppositories. Take your pick, no joints, sorry. Then get me a suppository. I'll shove it right up there right now. So it's easier to read this stuff. My God.
That sounds awful.
I'm sorry, Matt.
And to add to that, on 1819 News today, Charles Kiplinger's article about the Senate Bill 322. Now, if you add that to what you were just talking about they're dropping the ball with the marijuana, and you look at that, that's a $2,000 golf course that has to be just for somebody that's in the legislator's friends to have 2,000 acres and a golf course to themselves. Have you read it? Joy and Madeline?
No, I'm just looking at it now.
Yeah, he says all that, but we got into it. Allison Sinclair read it on the last show, and it is just by a lake, by 2 rivers, by it is just somebody that is in the legislature that is just doing this for their buddy. I mean, have you got me there?
Oh yeah.
I mean, we really do need somebody to run in the state that takes care of all this type of stuff that's just underhandedly nepotism, cronyism going on. I mean, we need somebody like a Steve Smith that's in the state of Alabama. I mean, if we just keep on putting people in that just keep on doing this stuff, we're never going to crawl out from under it.
Well, Charles, when are you going to run?
Well, hey, I got thinking about that too. Now, listen, I will be on the TV, the radio, and everything that I do, and I was the press secretary for Stacey Lee George.
Mm-hmm.
And that's going to put me in the media from that movie. Are you following me, Joy?
Yes.
And it being on HBO. And I can get on there and say all the stuff that I've got notes and notes of that are underhanded, crooked stuff going on. And I could be the person that is the good guy that just follows the money proper usage, not being a former Democrat becoming a Republican and doing underhanded Democrat stuff, but doing stuff that's really for the people. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That is something I really, really could do. And instead of having to have a lot of money, I just use the format of the interviews to continue with what I'm saying to put forth what I'm wanting to. What do you think?
I think it's a good idea. You should go for it, man.
Well, I mean, what's it going to hurt? It's just $1,000 to enter. And if I can be anywhere that I can get, anything that I can do, and if I can make somebody else that's running have to answer to something where other people don't, that's worth it. You know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
But I appreciate you letting me get on and say everything. And hey, and you really got bragged on really good the other day on his show for your work, Madeline.
Oh, did I?
I mean, oh yeah, to such an extent that you should go back and hear what these persons called to tell so greatly about you.
I definitely will.
Speaks.
When was that?
I think it was yesterday, right?
Oh, I hate I missed it.
Yeah, you should really go back and listen because it was two callers in a row, wasn't it, Joy?
Yeah. Now I don't remember everything that happened.
He's already hit the bong.
Right.
Yeah, just thinking about it got him there.
Yeah.
But anyway, you really should, Madeline, because you really want to thank this person that called and spoke so highly of you.
I definitely will. Thank you for letting me know.
Yeah. All right. Have a great day, everybody.
You
Thank
too.
you,
You heard it here first. Charles might run.
I know. And by the way, folks, you can't see my hands on the camera or really what I'm doing over here. I might have been able to slip one. Right. And let's go to line one. You're on the air. Who's this?
Dan.
Hey, Dan. How are you doing?
You're talking about Trump at the University of Alabama.
Yes, sir.
Have you ever heard the Fields Admiral give the commencement thing at the University of Texas?
No. Say that name again.
You need to find it. You need to find it and listen to it or even play it. It is probably the best commencement speech ever. He was the head admiral of the Navy SEALs.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
It's fantastic. It truly is worth playing.
Navy SEALs Admiral commencement speech.
Yeah.
McRaven.
It's
Okay.
amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. All right. Also, I needed Eddie's not there. Is
No, sir.
all right. There's supposedly a bill that was going to be put out by the Water Patrol people to limit the speed and some other conditions on the Coosa River, but I haven't heard anything about it. When he gets back, can you have him check on it?
Sure.
Especially after we had that wreck on Smith Lake, those guys got killed.
Yeah.
Something has to be done.
Absolutely.
That's all. Thank you.
Appreciate it, Dan.
And play that Admiral. You will be amazed.
Thank you, sir. 272-9228. Yeah, it was a 2014 commencement speech at University of Texas in Austin. A 20-minute speech. It might be a little long. But, this is the one where he talks about make your bed. Yeah, he says make your bed. Actually, I think I could just read this myself if we got time. I'll have to email that to myself.
Okay, I looked it up for inquiring minds who wanted to know. The 2016 commencement address at Huntington College was Dr. Betsy Barefoot.
Oh, for your commencement?
Mm-hmm. Don't know who she was. I can't
Betsy
tell you.
Barefoot? That sounds like a cartoon character. That's not even a real person.
That's what it says. Senior scholar. I don't know. From North Carolina.
Actually, there are a lot of good barfoots or barfeet around these parts.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah,
but this one's spelled different. Not barfoot, but barefoot.
Betsy Barefoot?
Correct. Like no shoes, barefoot.
Yeah, I can see why you didn't remember that.
Yeah, there you go. Nobody knows who it is.
Right. Anyway, 272-9228 if you want to get in on the conversation. That's 334-272-9228. How about this? Let's hit a break.
Sounds good.
Before we do, though, again, this part of the program brought to you by Josh and Leslie Ryder there at Dillon Rings. And at Dillon Rings, as I was saying earlier, they are a full-service jewelry shop ready to help you with any and all of your jewelry needs, from repairs to custom design work to spa treatments. Maybe it's been a while since, you got a family heirloom, like, say, a ring that's been in the family or pendant, anything, and you haven't had it appraised in a while. Like, you haven't had it appraised in 10 years. Well, inflation's been a thing. It could very well be that ring or any heirloom is worth a heck of a lot more these days. And, of course, on Facebook today, they just, on Dillon Rings, put out a great Easter message saying, "We hope everyone had a wonderful Easter weekend with the family. What are some Easter traditions you have with your family every year? Do you still get an Easter basket? Is there jewelry in it?" Actually, that's a pretty great idea. Like sneaking some jewelry in there.
Sign me up.
Y'all get by Dillon Rings today. They really are fantastic folks. Great inventory, great selection. Anything you can imagine in terms of service when it comes to jewelry, they've got your back. Just stop by 119 Brown Springs Road here in Montgomery, just off of Atlanta Highway. And be sure to tell Josh and Leslie that Joey and Madeline, those folks on the radio, sent you.
He may not know whether he's coming or going, but whether you're going to work or coming home, Greg Budell is there. Mornings, 6 till 9, and afternoons, 3 till 6. Only on News Talk 93.1 FM, WACV.
Since 1966, Alabama Sheriff's Youth Ranches has been more than just a place to stay. It's been a place to belong. For children facing hardships through no fault of their own, our ranches provide more than shelter. We offer a warm home, a loving family, and a future filled with hope. With open arms, we welcome these young hearts, giving them the love, structure, and guidance they need to heal, grow, and thrive in a warm Christian environment. Together, we can give Alabama's children the chance they deserve, a chance to dream, to succeed, and to feel truly cherished. Every donation stays within Alabama, directly impacting the lives of the children who need it most. Join us in making a difference. Visit AlabamaSheriff'sYouthRanches.org. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram, and download our app from your app store. We'd be honored to have you as a part of our mission to lift up Alabama's youth. And remember this, it's easier to build boys and girls than to repair men and women.
Hi, this is Bo Goodson from the Goodson Group with your Real Estate Minute. You're thinking of selling your home. Here are several ways to improve the look of your home and possibly the value. Number one, improve the curb appeal with trim bushes and cut the grass. Repaint the exterior where needed, and if needed, paint your front door. Number two, declutter the inside of the home by removing items that are not needed off countertops, dressers, and the den. Three, paint walls and trim where needed with a fresh coat of paint in a light color that will show off your home. Four, clean your oven and microwave inside and out, make it shine. Number five, professionally clean carpets or shine the wood floors with a polish or Bono. Six, clean out all closets or unwanted clothes, shoes, belts, hats, and donate them to a local charity. Finish any leftover repairs now, doorknobs, light bulbs, and closet doors. For a complete list and an in-person evaluation and consultation, call Bo Goodson from the Goodson Group, 221-2883 or 551-0225.
For too long, Alabama's statewide news companies have shamed us for our conservative Christian values. Alabama deserves a news company that cherishes our culture, a company that isn't bought and paid for by the powers that be. 1819 News is that company. Run by Alabamians for Alabamians, 1819 News celebrates what is good and beautiful about our state, while exposing those who work against our values in secret. Just go to 1819news.com to learn more. Subscribe to our newsletter. That's 1819news.com. This hour of news and views is brought to you by our good friends at Cole Plumbing, 279-8919. Cole Plumbing is number one in the number two business. You don't have to dig a hole. They have proprietary pipelining technology. Ask them about their tankless water heaters. Remember, when you have trouble with your bowl, call on Cole.
Adams Drugs has been committed to the healthcare of the people of the River region for over 62 years. We value the trust each customer has in our pharmacists, techs, and entire staff. If you have not experienced the difference of Adams Drugs and are not satisfied with the customer service that you get in the big box stores, we invite you to visit any of our locations and see how committed we are to your satisfaction. Adams Drugs offers a variety of services that you will not find in all pharmacies in the River Region. Personalized compounding, area-wide delivery, wellness screenings, immunizations, medication consultations, and specialized packaging, just to name a few. Visit us at our website, adamsdrugs.net, and find the location nearest you. Adams Drugs has 12 convenient locations to serve you. Your satisfaction is our #1 goal. Adams Drugs is your local Health Mart pharmacy. Health Mart, taking the time to listen and care.
Hey guys, this is Todd Clark with River Region Contracting, your premier roofing contractor in Central Alabama. So remember the name, River Region Contracting, for all your roofing needs. We're not affiliated with any other roofing company in the River Region. We've been in the roofing business since 2005. We don't have to buy our leads, and we don't have to knock on doors when the storms come around. We have thousands of satisfied customers throughout Central Alabama. So call us at 334-356-8635. That's 334-356-8635.
This is your roving reporter, and today I am talking with an elk. Hey man, Mr. Elk, I was just wondering, what do elk do to take care of their money? Well, like most smart folks, we call David Erdis. You mean Alabama's most favorite asset preservationist? That's him, man. We call him up at 334-279-7431 or 205-479-0839. I see. Yes, he is our preferred money man. The money man with the money plan. You've been paying attention. Well, could you give us those numbers one more time? 334-279-7431 or 205-479-0839. And I just want to try to give you a heads up, man. Oh, what's that? I'm not an elk. Not an elk, huh? Well, then, pray tell, what are you? Knights of Columbus. I am not even going to make a comment. Well, the baby liked it.
Hi, I'm Jane Ray, account executive with Blue Water Broadcasting. Why should you advertise with us? Frequency sells. The more ads you can get on the air, the better the chances it will make an impact. Radio allows advertisers an inexpensive way to get their voices heard over and over again. Contact me, Jane Ray, by going to bluewaterbroadcasting.com to find out more. Blue Water Broadcasting, local folks helping local business.
This hour of news and views is brought to you by our good friends at Cole Plumbing, 279-8919. Cole Plumbing is #1 in the #2 business. You don't have to dig a hole. They have proprietary pipelining technology. Ask them about their tankless water heaters. Remember, when you have trouble with your bowl, call on Cole.
Rich Thomas weather brought to you by Clark Heating, Air, and Plumbing.
Hey, this is Robbie Clark. Stay cool with a spring tune-up with Clark Heating, Air, and Plumbing. Don't wait. Schedule today. Give us a call at 334-277-2125. Alabama certification number 09098.
Rich Thomas weather.
Well, hi, everybody. We could actually use a little rain. And if you have our weather app, you'll be able to track a few storms here and there scattered about on radar and future radar. It will continue very warm today with a high temperature up to about 84. Mild tonight, overnight low temperature 63. Tomorrow, maybe some widely scattered showers and storms possible. Still warm, high 86. I think we'll be in the upper 80s Thursday and maybe teasing 90 degrees by Friday and Saturday. From the Blue Water Weather Center, this is Rich Thomas.
The River Region's News Talk Station. News Talk 93.1. WACV. News Talk 93.1.
Joey Clark.
Welcome back. Rounding the corner in the final hour here. Thanks again, Madeline, for sticking around.
I'm so glad I could be here.
And I want to go to J.D. Vance, kind of laying it down. I believe this was in India.
Looks like it.
On his trip there. And before he gets to the big trade announcement, he was giving a good little speech here. Let's listen into some of this.
Contrast with too many in the West, where some in our leadership class seem stricken by self-doubt and even fear of the future. To them, humanity is always one bad decision away from catastrophe. The world will soon end, they tell us, because we're burning too much fuel or making too many things or having too many children. And so, rather than invest in the future, they too often retreat from it. Some of them pass laws that force their nations to use less power. They cancel nuclear and other energy generation facilities, even as their choices, the choices of these leaders, lead to more dependence on foreign adversaries. Meanwhile, their message to their friends, to countries like India, is to tell them that they're not allowed to grow. Well, President Trump rejects these failed ideas. He wants America to grow. He wants India to grow. And he wants to build the future with our partners all over the country.
I love it. Yeah, because that has seemed to be the message, whether it's like how much energy we use to actually make things, but it also seems to be the mentality of don't have kids. That's just another mouth to feed. Like it's almost like this population control thing.
People have been doing that for a long time.
Yeah, like we don't have enough resources to go around. We got too many mouths to feed as is. And to me, that seems like, well, what if that mouth you're feeding comes up to be like the next genius that creates something that makes the world better for everybody? Like, isn't more brain power, generally speaking, a good thing?
And they don't take into account the death rate either.
Yeah.
That we're not having as many children as there are people dying.
Oh, yeah. Well, and if you like you're a couple and you have two, it's like that's not even, I guess that's replacement. Like if you're a husband, wife, you have two kids, okay, we're at even.
Sure.
And no, and I know, like I've talked to my brother about it. I'm not even close to having children myself, but like having 3, 4, 5, 6 kids sounds like, especially after one, you're like, oh my goodness. After two, you're like, I don't know.
Yeah, I can't imagine.
Yeah, so it's a lot.
You're outnumbered.
But you see this mentality in so much of it, like we just need to control and do less. Don't unleash American power and innovation and energy and all this stuff. No, we need to just control it, because we're doing too much. And because of this grand climate catastrophe that's always just 5-10 years away, even though we're 5-10 years into the future a few times now. Well, you have to do with less. It's a terrible idea. It's kind of anti-human at the bottom of it, is how I would describe it. Like it is not for actual flourishing and more people standing up.
Well, we the people are supposed to do with less, but the top is supposed to have all.
Oh, right? You're right. Yeah, because they got to make all the decisions.
That's right.
Yeah, they've got to be able to do all the important stuff where we peasants are meant to just, lump it and like it, I suppose. 272-9228. That's 334-272-9228 if you want to get in on the conversation. Now, one issue that will go before the Supreme Court here soon is the question of birthright citizenship.
Right.
And the more I've heard this argument, I'm like, yeah, I think it's been abused in a way that was not intended when this is passed right after the Civil War. I really think it's been abused in a crazy way. Well, the top advisor to President Trump, he off on Newsmax. Like Stephen Miller, you know this guy, the bald fella?
Yes.
He will occasionally just get on these rants, even in friendly territory, and you're like, okay, just go off, man. Tell us what you really think. Here's Stephen Miller on birthright citizenship.
Birthright citizenship is the biggest, costliest scam in financial history. An illegal alien can come here 9 months pregnant or on a tourist visa, 9 months pregnant, have a baby. That baby is then declared an automatic citizen, which then entitles the entire family to come here and live here. And every one of them can get welfare. Yes, they can get unlimited welfare applying as the custodian of this citizen, so-called child. The biggest financial ripoff of Americans in history, not to mention the fact that it is the #1 magnet for illegal immigration and invasion, and that is used by foreign governments to conduct espionage against the United States. Because now, see, we can keep out a foreign spy who has a visa, who's trying to get permission to board an airplane. But what happens when a foreign government uses this ridiculous birthright scam in order to create automatic citizens who then grow up as assets of a foreign government? So it's a major national security threat. The 14th Amendment, the provisions in question were ratified for the children of freed slaves. You can go read the minutes of the debate. They were talking about the children of freed slaves after the Civil War.
Yeah, no, you're 100%
right. The idea that this was meant
Yes.
to provide illegal alien children with
Whoever is the host on Newsmax needs to just shut up. Like when Stephen Miller's on a roll, just let him roll, man.
automatic citizenship. Do you really think that in the 19th century, 3/4 of states all got together to pass an amendment to say that people that Congress has forbidden from entering here can have automatic children citizens? I mean, the idea is so far beyond even the outer limits of imagination. No human being who suggests it should be taken seriously.
Birthright citizenship, folks. I don't know. I don't know what this court's going to do. I don't pretend to know, but it seems like he's making a fairly common sense argument there.
I would say so.
Yeah, 272-9228. You all into this whole Pope funeral stuff?
I mean, no, not really. I'm a Protestant.
So you're not like, what are the Cardinals going to do when they get all...
No, I mean, I'll probably, watch some of it, but I'm not like sitting on pins and needles waiting for any of it.
I mean, me neither. Like, it is a reminder. It's kind of like when Queen Elizabeth died and they did the coronation of Charles and all this stuff. It reminds you of a world that was so dominant for centuries. Yeah. And it's sort of the vestiges of that world that was the West for so long. And that part of it's fascinating to me. But in terms of like taking your marching orders from the Pope, yeah, really? It's not I was raised Catholic, but I'm kind of at the point of like, really? There's a bunch of old men in red robes get together and say, this is the vicar of Christ on earth. He is? It doesn't seem correct. It just doesn't.
Well, there was a whole movement called the Reformation.
Oh, yeah, in the 1500s there, yeah.
There were a lot of people who agreed with you.
No, it's crazy how crazy it was then.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, because the Catholic Church did have a point. It's like if you translate the Bible into the vernacular, the languages of everyday people's native tongues.
Takes the power from the church.
It does, but they also predicted it's going to lead to some crazies. And it did. All these, like in the German experience, it really did of like, and it led to what? A century or more of just crazy wars too. So I think it's a corrective. There's a great, one of my favorite books called The Cave and the Light. And it's sort of a view of Aristotle and Plato's influence throughout the West, sort of a sweeping history, a sprint through Western history, emphasizing when Plato's philosophy was on top or Aristotle's was on top. But the opening scene of Martin Luther in one of the chapters visiting Rome and like how people could climb the supposed steps that Christ climbed and like all the relics and all the indulgences. And it's like street vendors selling all these essentially religious wares. Yeah, you can see why he was a little like, this is crazy. This has to be corrected. So I'm not saying everybody needs to go back to the Roman Catholic Church. I guess my point would be, I do wonder, when did the schism stop? Because it seems like we're just, the Christendom is just divided more and more and more and more. To where, like, you go to a certain Christian church and it's almost like we're divided more politically. So I don't know. How do we get back to like being one people? It's a good question. I don't have the answer to it. I don't expect you to have the answer to it. It's just.
Well, there's a lot of denominations who have had this schism political conversation be very, at the forefront here lately.
Oh, yeah. But, I just keep going on my way unaffiliated. Let's go to line one. You're on there. Who's this?
That's Papa B.
Hey, Papa B. How you doing?
I'm doing well. Yeah. So these guys get together and they say, this is now the anointed leader. Well, that's not so bad, I guess.
I mean, how else are you going to do it?
I do find it a little bit presumptuous somewhat.
Now, it would really, I think it would have more staying power if, like, in the same way when John the Baptist baptizes Jesus and what the Spirit falls upon him and you hear God the Father's voice. I'm like,
yeah.
Like, if you actually heard God the Father's voice and saw the Spirit falling upon the new vicar, you might be like, well, that's pretty compelling.
Now, well, there you go. That's the signing right there. I mean, that would answer a lot of questions.
No, but in this day and age, people are like, that's just AI, man. Like, you think we went to the moon, too?
Yeah.
Just some disembodied voice. It's so
true.
Easy to fake.
Yeah, it's just an effect. That's true. Well, at least they're not selling indulgences. Or are they?
Well, who knows, man?
Pay to play.
I guess one of my main, I'm not going to call it a gripe. I'm just going to call it an argument, maybe. Not every argument, everything I got that's fine or wrong, but with the Catholic Church is this idea about praying to Mary. Mary blessed, she is blessed forever, and honored forever. But look, Jesus was alive, and they asked him, well, how should we pray? And he said, Our Father who art in heaven. He didn't say, look, I don't know, go ask my mama. Maybe that was a clue.
I mean, being raised in the Catholic Church, it was never like worship Mary. It was more Mary has a special place amongst those in heaven, given she's the mother of Christ.
I got it. But, trying to use Mary as a conduit, I don't know. I think we have our faith is in Jesus. But anyway, that's an argument that I'm sure we'd be happy to have one day. The main reason I call this for this all immigration, illegal immigration. I'm telling you, it's a way to kill the country. And they've been spelled out. They haven't been quite coy about it or anything. They spelled it out black and white. This is what that Perkins-Coie, not the Perkins-Coie, but the whatever plan to really ruin America, overwhelm with the immigrants and such. And, the birthright citizenship is part of that plan. No question of it. I've seen it in action. It's definitely a magnet, and they definitely, we see it right now in action. All these blue states fighting tooth and nail to keep their immigrants up there. Many of them illegal. Hoodlums out to do no good whatsoever.
Well, as long as they're voting for
one
them.
would wonder. Well,
that's all they're worried about.
The only thing I can think of is when you say, well, why in the world would they be trying to get this MS-13 guy back and all these other Nicaragua or whatever they are? Well, the only thing that comes to mind is this. This is their army. You remember when Obama said we need a domestic army? This is like their tip of the spear, in my opinion. And this is the reason they want them up there so bad, want them here so bad, because they know they can utilize these folks who are up to no good to do their dirty work. I do believe that's part of it. Tell me I'm wrong, Joey. Tell me I'm wrong.
I don't know if it goes that far. I see it more as we can manipulate the census numbers and thus representation, and then we can legalize a lot of these folks down the road, making them a special class.
Illegal voting.
Yes, yeah. And also, but you just look at it set me off earlier. Al Gore was comparing Trump and team to the Nazis, because if you read about the Nazis, they converted every question of truth to a question of power. I'm like, yeah, y'all haven't done that in the last few years, right?
No. Come on, they're Democrats.
No, as soon as they get in after 2020, right? What do? They try to centralize all voting regulation in Washington, D.C. They try to add 2 states to the union. They start flirting with getting rid of the Electoral College and packing the Supreme Court. All these are power plays.
Yep.
And it's not really a question of truth. It's a matter of who's up, who's got the leverage, who's got the power. I think the illegal immigration is part of that. I don't know if this is like Obama's army. I think that's, I don't know,
man. You think that's a stretch?
Yeah, I think that suppository I stuffed is starting to work here, man. That's crazy, dude.
Let me just ask you, why else would they want them? What is the point of making certain that they have Nicaragua, whatever they're called, and MS-13? Why? Why would they want that element? Why?
They don't care if the element's good or not, as long as it's somebody supporting them.
It's more open the floodgates in general, and
I don't know. He told Maduro to send him the people that were crooks and criminals. That's according to Maduro. He said it. So you look it up yourself. I don't know. I think there's more of a dark, more sinister thing, but then again, I usually do. So I'm going to try to go your way somewhat.
Well, bless you, my son.
All right. All right, buddy. We'll talk to you later.
Later, man. 272-9228. Let's go to line 3. You're on there. Who's this?
Hey, guys, I just want to say John the Baptist in his preachings also said, I'm just the one preceding Christ.
Yes.
And then Christ, he knew who Christ, well, according to what we saw on TV, I will say those are actors, those are actresses, also, but they're trying to dictate what happened. And I don't know if any gospel goes against it, but John the Baptist did baptize Jesus, and Jesus wanted to do that to show I am a man. I feel everything you feel. But
right.
yet,
And the scene I'm describing is the one very clear as day scene where you actually see the Trinity at play.
Well, he rose from the dead, but how can you imagine knowing, or if you even knew ahead of time, that you would have to go through crucifixion? Now, that was one thing. And then the other thing, y'all were talking about politics, and man, you got to draw my memory. What did Papa B talk about?
Illegal immigrants. But Robert, I've let you abuse the privilege. It's one call a day, and you've called 3 times today. I love you, and I love that you love the show, but you can't keep abusing this privilege. It's not cool, man.
No, I don't want to abuse it.
Please don't then. So, and I'm running out of time here, and come on, brother. Come on, man. Thank you for the call. Talk to you tomorrow. Anyway.
Or in a few minutes.
I don't know what he was talking about with actors and stuff.
I don't either.
Anyway, let's hit this break. We'll be right back.
Want to carry News Talk in your pocket? Download the News Talk 93.1 app from the App Store. Available on iPhone and Android. Never miss a moment. Download now.
This is gonna be fun.
Tonight on the CW, you know what happens in Vegas ain't staying in Vegas.
Get hyped, baby. Welcome to NXT.
After the epic stand and deliver showdown, NXT superstars are bringing the fire, baby.
They could be the main event at WrestleMania.
Can you dig it, sucker? It's NXT from Las Vegas, all new tonight on the CW.
Tune in to Montgomery CW tonight at 7 p.m.
This hour of news and views is brought to you by our good friends at Cole Plumbing, 279-8919. Cole Plumbing is number 1 in the number 2 business. You don't have to dig a hole. They have proprietary pipelining technology. Ask them about their tankless water heaters. Remember, when you have trouble with your bowl, call on Cole.
Live local talk. The River Region's only 24-hour News Talk FM station. News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
Joey Clark.
Welcome back. Kind of a weird news day. Not too much going on, but I think we've been powering through. Oh, I forgot. I need to call somebody here real quick.
Our friends at Prattville Carpet?
Yeah. I do need to.
I had not forgotten them.
Actually, here's what I'm going to do. Do it on air.
All right, let's see if he answers.
Hopefully he watches his mouth. Come on, Ray Bowles. Pick up Ray Bowles. Come on. Hey, Ray, we're actually on the air. I forgot to call you during the break. So welcome to the show. How you doing today?
Well, I'm glad I didn't do like I normally do and tell you a dirty joke off the bat.
I know. I love those limericks you always have on here.
I was sitting here with my good buddy Gus Maxey. Gus, you want to do my radio ad for me live? No. Why not? It's a really conservative show. Don't you want to be on a really conservative show? He's as liberal as you get.
Tell him about the one from the man from Nantucket. I think he'll like it.
So, listen, if y'all need a floor, call us 285-8117. If you need a roof, call Gus. But if you need a floor, you want to call me, 285-8117. We'll come out and give you that free measurement. Next thing you know, you got a new floor down. Just that simple.
And when you call them up at 285-8117, be sure to tell them you heard Ray Bowles on the radio with that Joey Clark fella.
Hey, y'all have a great day.
You too, Ray. Huh, success.
You got it in.
Yeah, I was a little worried he was coming out with the gate with one of those dirty limericks. They're good stuff, though. They're a lot of fun. Oh, look, Pamela's here. How are you today?
I'm good.
Just good?
Oh, it's been one of those days. Been the Wicked Witch all day.
Oh, you've had to be? Or you just are?
I just have been.
Oh, okay.
I know.
Is that like a race car themed outfit?
Okay. Nobody can see what you're talking about.
I know.
So.
That's what makes it even better.
Actually, a business in downtown Prattville opened this morning.
Oh.
And it's Drive South. It's like this virtual golf experience.
Okay.
Place. It's really awesome.
Cool.
But my friend who owns it was wearing this pattern.
Like it's just black and white checker.
Yeah, I wore it to match her.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Very cool.
What a friend.
Yeah.
Oh,
all in.
And it's, I mean, I bought it and it's been sitting in my closet and I was like, where am I going to wear this? This is not my, I mean, I wear black and white, but not patterns usually. So I was like, okay, today I'm going to wear it.
See, I'm getting to know you as well. It's not quite as well, but as like Eddie.
Mhm.
And so I'm going to comment on outfits. This is just,
you can.
no, you look great.
What about my Carhartt overalls?
No, it looks good. The whole package looks awesome.
The Carhartt overalls are a vibe.
Yeah, it's like I'm a working gal, but I also have some style to me. I don't want to wear no belt.
You're so funny. I usually do wear a belt, but yeah, no belt with the overalls.
I don't think I own a pair of overalls.
Most people don't, I think, anymore.
You own any overalls, man?
I don't.
Yeah.
My little boys do. They look the cutest in them.
Boys do look really cute in overalls. Yeah.
The little overalls. You know, the one family photo I have that it's still like actually have in my room is my brother and I. And I don't know what drives moms to do this. My mom made us go down like by the riverfront. It's like some professional photographer. And I think we're like, I'm 9 and he's like 6. And it's like, you know, the professional posing and stuff. And I'm like,
everybody has to do that with their kids. Yeah.
I look at it now. I'm like, well, it brings back great memories, but it's also like, oh, you dorks.
I have old pictures of my son when he was probably like 3 or 4, and he's like sitting on a crate just in a studio, you know, with like a brown background, and he's dressed all cute, but he's just on a wooden crate, and he's like,
it's like the thing you used to be able to do at the mall real quick. Like,
yes, all of our
People
little
go to, like,
pictures
JC
are
Penney or
we had an Olin Mills.
Okay.
Yeah.
Kmart.
Way up north. Yep.
Well, that's adorable. Anyway, I'm trying to figure out what I learned today. Not much. The news was slow today. I mean, I learned that the medical cannabis thing here in the state is
That's
crazy.
irritating.
Absolutely crazy. The more you read all the legalese and this motion and that injunction and this stay and all that stuff, it's like, I just want to be high.
I know. I was driving and listening to you going on about that, and I was like, man, I could probably find somebody on the street, get something before I got there, and to give you some relief.
Yeah, I know, but we don't want to do anything too
No,
illegal.
we're not doing anything crazy.
Right. Well, and honestly, if all you can get is like a gummy or tincture or suppository, just, you know, pop one in and.
I have been thinking about trying the gummies
Yeah.
for sleep.
I will say that too much THC affects your REM.
Really?
Yes.
See, man, I don't know these things. I've never done anything like that. I was in the military, and I've just.
Yeah, if
I'm
you're,
as
I would
boring
not
as they
suggest.
come.
Maybe some people it works for some folks. Like it actually puts them down and like helps them go to sleep.
Yeah.
But I would highly suggest not doing that right before you actually are trying to go to bed. Maybe
Goodness.
several hours
This
before.
is why I need people's guidance in my life. I
Yeah.
appreciate it.
Maybe watch some like bad TV for a few hours and then doze off.
Have nightmares.
I don't. Yeah.
Mhm.
I don't watch enough TV.
I've been
Could try it.
trying to get into some bad TV, but yeah, it's
What do you call bad TV? Like reality TV?
like wrestling. Yeah, I kept trying to watch the progression out of WrestleMania into Raw. It was all right.
Mm.
But honestly, I get tied up in the podcast world where it's all over the
That's-
place.
Yes, me too.
And
That's what I do.
Sometimes it's serious political stuff. Sometimes it's Joe Rogan
Funny,
hanging out with
ridiculous
his,
stuff. Mhm.
like Bert and Tom on Two Bears, One Cave. They're very funny.
Yes. Have you ever watched
Yvonne.
Ninjas Are Butterflies?
Mm-mm. Ninjas are butterflies.
Yes.
Who is that?
It's these two guys from Florida and one of their wives and some other random guys. They're hilarious. One of them's a youth pastor. They're pretty clean, but they come up with original music every episode. I think you'd like it.
Okay.
But they are into conspiracy theories. They're very intelligent.
You had me there.
Yes, they're hilarious.
All right.
But very smart.
Very cool.
Mm-hmm.
I was trying to think what I was watching last night. You remember Rhett and Link, the big YouTubers?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
It was Rhett sitting down with a guy named Alex O'Connor, who's become known as, say, a very well-spoken and also very charitable atheist. Like, he sits down with all sorts of different types of folks. He's British, actually went to Cambridge.
The name rings a bell. If I saw him, I'd know who he was.
Yeah, he got like a theology degree. So, like, he knows the Bible just as well as anybody else who might. And he has these very charitable discussions, but it was actually of Rhett and Link, how Rhett left his faith over time, which was interesting. It wasn't, to me, very compelling. It was more interesting as just like a human story, because he was actually a youth pastor in college.
Okay.
And you'll notice sometimes the folks that do the quick conversions, it's like, you are hardcore in this thing, and you have this moment where you like shift. And I think Francis Collins' book on evolution or something called The Language of God shifted him. But then I was watching another thing, a guy talking to Michael Knowles presenting the latest research on the Shroud of Turin.
Yeah.
It's really cool. And kind of blows your hair back. You're like, well, it seems pretty compelling to me. So it's like, I kind of enjoy the, sometimes the faith space, whether it's even folks without faith or in faith. There are a lot of great Catholic and Protestant debates online that are done in good faith. There's a lot of stuff like that. And then sometimes, you just want to watch Theo Vaughn, say some, do some flips with his words.
Did you hear how he's getting sued?
How?
Oh gosh, I don't remember. It's this vagabond type guy who's suing him from prison.
Oh, good
But
God.
his reaction to it was that he's being sued for $30 million. And he's like, dude, I drive a Ford Ranger. Where I don't have this money. It's funny.
Tim Dillon's new comedy special.
I watched, yes.
Very, very funny.
He is great. His RFK Jr., 10 out of 10.
Yeah, it's so good.
So good.
And when you figure out why he named his special I Am Your Mother,
yeah,
it's like, oh my God. Anyway, Tim Dillon, great at sending up the absurdities of this world. Anyway, I appreciate it a lot, Madeline. You sticking around.
Oh, you're so welcome. I had a good time. Thank you for having me.
And y'all stay tuned. Happy Hour with Greg Budell and Pamela. They're next.
Broadcasting from the Riverside Chevrolet Master Control Center, this is WACV Cusada, News Talk 93.1 FM. When it's Chevy, it's Riverside.
With SRN News, I'm John Scott. Wall Street is rallying as companies report better profits than expected. Equifax, Baltic Group, and 3M help lead the way following better than expected profit reports. The value of the U.S. dollar also stabilized after sliding against the euro and other competitors, while Treasury yields held steadier in the bond market. The Supreme Court's conservative majority is signaling support for the religious rights of Maryland parents.